tonight.
I can tell you what happened.
Hey, Tim. That was great.
Oh, how would you know? You're always too drunk.
Beth, what is your problem?
Nobody knew it was going to happen.
It was only some drinks until one mistake made it one too many. At 8, 7 Central tonight.
I'm very, very thirsty.
Thirsty, my dear? How about some imitation citrus-flavored carbonated beverage?
But I want the real thing.
I have what you want, darling. No sugar-added Wink. Wink has real grapefruit, oranges, limes. Wink's fruit flavor is real everything. Imitation, nothing.
Let's have a party.
Wink really has appeal, 'cause the fresh fruit flavor of Wink. Watch out, New York!
Don't miss 2 big hours of game show fun with money and prizes galore every weeknight from 8 to 10, starting tonight. See Tic-Tac Dough, You Don't Say, Let's Make a Deal, and Tell the Truth. Night games, 8 to 10 p.m. this fall.
You're gonna see just how good it can be. How good it can be. With 11 alive.
What do you get when you add big money to a game of tic-tac-toe? You get Tic-Tac Dough, an exciting game show where X's and O's spell out big bucks. Past tic-tac-toe champions have won well over $100,000 in cash and prizes. And you can be sure the race for that kind of money is always tense and exciting. So join host Wink Martindale and the thousands of viewers who play tic-tac-toe every weeknight. The action starts at 7:30 right here on Channel 4.
Hey, Chance.
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's Podblast time!
That's Well, it's been a while.
How you doing?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think since we talked about war movies, how have you been?
Good, thanks. I see you have a game show behind you.
That's Tic-Tac Dough in honor of Wink Martindale, who passed away. Of course, he was the host of Tic-Tac Dough. That's why I'm wearing a tie in his memory. And you actually knew Wink professionally, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And you have some stories to tell about Wink and some cool audio you're going to share. You actually worked at the same place he did for a time. And,
yeah, he was, after he left the game show circuit, he was a personality on Music of Your Life, which was a radio network that supplied Music of Your Life to a bunch of radio stations. And so he was on there for I think he was on for 13 or 14 years on Music of Your Life after he left television, and he was on Music of Your Life. And I worked on Music of Your Life. I started working there, in 2008. And I worked with him until he left Music of Your Life. So I had a chance to work with him and talk with him. And I put together a show for Frank Sinatra, because Frank Sinatra was born in 1915, and he passed away in 2015. And he would have been 100 years. Well, he didn't pass away at 2015. He would have been 100. But anyway, I put a show together for Wink Martindale to celebrate Sinatra's 100th birthday.
That's cool.
He sent me all the elements. He sent me the liners, the drop-ins, and he already had the music pre-picked. All I had to do was put the liners and the music with his music that they had supplied to him, the Sinatra special. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. It took me about 4 or 5 days to do it, but I was proud of it, and I have a copy of it to this day.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. This is the Nostalgic Podblast. This is your weird, informative, hopefully fun time capsule of memories of days gone by as we forge ahead together in a game of life. Remember the Milton Bradley board game Life? Did you play Life, Al Hardee?
I have that board game still. I have it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I haven't played it in a long time, but it's probably, it's really old. I've had it for a long time.
Yeah. I was more of a Twister man myself, but I never really played Life. But
I didn't
anyway.
either. Really. I wasn't a game person, but I had it, and I had a lot of other ones too, like Monopoly and that sort of stuff.
I play Scrabble almost every week with Mom when I visit Mom and Dad. They live like 5 miles from me. Anyway, but like the board game of life, we reminisce about life, specifically pop culture history and life experiences that we all have in common. That's what the Nostalgic Podblast is all about. And as Steve Harvey says before he hosts Family Feud, we've got a good one for you today. And I think I have some interesting interview source material of Wink in his own words to share with you, some game show clips and a clip of me I've never shared on a game show. The Game Show Network GSN Live, just as a phone-in contestant, but I've never shared. Okay. This was my second win, and I'll play that clip later. But this is about Wink. If you want to talk about anything nostalgic, leave a comment for those that are watching live on the Nostalgic Podblast YouTube channel or Facebook Live or Twitch, and I'll put it on the screen. Or if you want to call in to talk to Al and I about Wink, the number 770-438-1050. And I had done a series, Al, I don't know if you noticed, about the great deceased game show hosts. And I began the series with part 1, which is about the golden age of game show television hosts like Groucho Marx, Bud Collyer, Gary Moore, Bill Cullen, Dennis James. And then I talked about Gene Rayburn in part 2, and then Richard Dawson in part 3, and then in part 4, Bert Convey, and then last time, the great Alex Trebek. And I'd already talked about Bob Barker before he passed away, so I need to do one on Bob Barker. But now, unfortunately, we've got to add Wink Martindale to this picture. Look at this picture, folks.
All right, let me see it.
We've got to add the great Wink Martindale to that collage of the game show greats who are no longer.
Do you have a favorite game show host from that picture?
From that picture,
one that you like the most, huh?
In that picture, Gene Rayburn. I don't know Bob Barker. You know what? When we first did a Podblast on game shows, it was the Nostalgic Podblast Edition 2 from way back in June of 2019. I said Richard Dawson was my favorite host. I have different phases. For a long time, I thought it was Dawson, then Gene Rayburn. Now I think Bob Barker. Now that I've seen the classic Bob Barker episodes on Pluto TV and the Bob Barker Price is Right channel and on Buzzer, I really think he did more. He had a great personality, as did Gene Rayburn, a great sense of humor, but he did more. He actually, he would hit the golf ball. He would throw the football. He would do the skee ball. He did a lot of active things while he's telling the contestants how to play a game. I just had a lot of.
I like Gene Rayburn. I also like Bill Cullen.
Yeah, Bill Cullen was very underrated. Hey to Kay Moonen out there in Florida watching live. I need to say hey to people really quickly, Al. Hey to Tracy's Fractured History More, also in the great state of Florida. She said, Wink really hosted a lot of shows. Yes, we're going to talk about his life briefly. And to you, Al, Tracy says, hi, Mr. Hardee.
Hello there. Thanks for watching and tuning in.
And hey to Danny in South Carolina. Greetings from South Carolina, his trademark line. Good to see you. I'm going to teach you a lot, Kay Moonen, about Wink Martindale, who passed away. I played a commercial for Wink Soda. Do you remember Wink Soda? That was like a little nod to the great Wink Martindale.
I guess, maybe. I don't know. Was it nationwide or?
Yes, it was. My dad liked Wink. And it was a citrus drink with no sugar added, just a soda pop. But so that's a picture of that. And you see that the African-American gentleman, that was the first black game show host. And I loved, there's so many that were underrated. Like I like Jack Nars a lot, the host of Concentration for a long time in the 70s on NBC. I thought he was good. And Now You See It, a game show I've talked about a lot here on the Podblast. I thought was a very complicated show.
I liked Art Fleming on the original Jeopardy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And of course, Ray Combs, he sadly took his own life in a bit of depression in 1996, I believe. It was so sad. Louis Anderson and, Family Feud.
Louis Anderson, yeah.
Family Feud turns 50 next year. It began July 2nd, 1976 with Richard Dawson as host, and Steve Harvey is the longest running Family Feud host in history. So
I enjoy that show back, the original one. I haven't watched it with Steve Harvey that much to form an opinion on it, but it's okay, I suppose.
On the screen, that's the game board for Now You See It.
Yeah.
It was a word game, and I picked that. My first name's Chance. I'm Chance Bartels, your humble host. So, I took a snapshot of that. But it's a really cool little game show. And Al Hardee, just so you don't know, for those that don't know, he worked at Turner for a long time. There's his ID from 1980. Look at that.
Oh, my God. Look at that. That's from 1980. Look at that.
Yeah, man. Did you have Jerry curl? Or why was your hair curly? Did you have a perm?
No, well, it straightened out as I got older. It was a little curly, but I think I did have a perm put in it at one time.
And there's not a stitch of gray.
No. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days.
So you actually worked at Turner from 1976 to 1991, and we met at Cumulus Media. We worked there together about 5 years or so. And you're an on-air DJ at Kicks Country, like your T-shirt you have on, WKHX Kicks Country.
Now it's New Country 1015.
Yes,
that's a Cumulus thing,
Well, they killed the brand, just like Peach Radio. Remember that was such a mistake when Peach, they changed the moniker WPCH. Peach, Georgia Peach.
Well, that's when that's when it was easy listening.
Correct. Station. Yep.
Peach 94.9.
Let's talk about the great Wink Martindale, who actually started in radio. Here's a picture of him. Look at that. Look at Wink as a young man. He was a Southern man. He was born in Tennessee.
And he was real good friends with Elvis. His wife, Sandy, actually dated Elvis at one time before Sandy married Wink.
Yep.
I have an audio clip. It's just him on Music of Your Life. You want to hear it?
Certainly. What year would this be from? Would it be the 2000s, like pandemic time?
This was like from 2010, 2011, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, let's listen to his smooth voice.
We'll put his picture up and I'll play it.
Okay.
All right. All right, this is a little clip of him on Music of Your Life.
A couple of terrific generations of singers represented there. Diana Krall to Edie Gourmet, part of today's Music of Your Life, continuing on a Tuesday, the second day of the month. Miss Peggy Lee, All Right, Okay, You Win on this Tuesday, January 2nd. And out of the 1940s, Tommy Dorsey and Boogie Woogie. By the way, it was on this day in 1941, the Andrews sisters recorded Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy for Decca Records. They introduced the song in the 1941 Abbott and Costello picture Buck Privates. In 1973, the song and the arrangement were successfully revived by Miss Bette Midler. Boy, that'll wake you up, won't it, huh? If you're about half asleep today, that'll do it for you. Bette Midler, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B, a revival of the old Andrews sisters hit. I'm Wink Martindale. You're listening to your music. This is the music of your life.
How about that?
I like that. Did you edit out the songs?
Yeah, I scoped
that was
them out.
Smart. That was smart. Yeah, for copyright and all that jazz.
I have a lot of air checks actually of Wink. But anyway, I have a lot of air checks of Wink. As I told you, when I was on Music of Your Life with Wink, he contacted me and asked me if I would edit the Sinatra special for him when Sinatra turned 100. And I said, sure. So he sent me all the elements. He sent them to me. And so I put the show together. He cut some promos for the show. You want to hear some of them?
Yeah, please. I would love that.
All right, here we go. Take a listen.
Promo number 1 coming December 12th. Just once in a generation, a performer the likes of Francis Albert Sinatra comes along. This is Wink Martindale reminding you to please mark Saturday, December 12th on your calendar. That's the day Music of Your Life celebrates with Sinatra. A hats-off tribute to this iconic man of music on the centennial anniversary of his birth. Sinatra and friends will take you from Hoboken to Major Bowes, Harry James to Tommy Dorsey, All or Nothing at All to New York, New York, My Way, and That's Life. A life lived by arguably the biggest star of the 20th century. In their own words, you'll hear remembrances of Frank by Conan Van Heusen, Bob Hope, Tony Bennett, Paul Anka, Nelson Riddle, Don Costa, and Gordon Jenkins, Sammy Davis, daughter Nancy and son Frank Jr., and many, many more. Celebrate with Sinatra. You'll truly enjoy the music of your life Saturday, December 12th, beginning at 5 p.m. This is promo number 2. This is Wink Martindale with an invitation to celebrate with Sinatra, Saturday, December 12th, beginning at 5 o'clock. That day in 1915, 100 years ago, was a red-letter day in the annals of popular music. It was the day Francis Albert Sinatra was born. From Hoboken to Hollywood, his voice over the years would perform songs from the Great American Songbook like no other singer, before or since. Music of Your Life presents Sinatra and Friends Remembering an American Legend, with comments and first-hand stories by those who knew him best. His daughter Nancy and son Frank. Arrangers Nelson Riddle, Don Costa, and Gordon Jenkins. Joe Stafford, Paul Anka. From Harry James to Tommy Dorsey, Sammy Kahn, Jimmy Van Heusen, and Julie Stein. From the Bergmans to Bono and Sinatra himself, singing his greatest hits. Celebrate with Sinatra, Saturday, December 12th, beginning at 5 p.m. Truly, the music of your life.
He was such a professional, you know?
He sure was. I love his voice, and some big names there. Nelson Riddle and his orchestra.
Yeah.
Of course, he did the music from Batman, the Adam West classic TV show, among many other things.
Of course, he arranged a lot of, excuse me, Sinatra music, too.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Can you talk about any private conversations you had with Wink? Anything interesting?
It was in 2015, so he would call me and let me know how things were going. And, you know, I would send him little samples. I'd email them back to him. And he was real pleased with it. He just said I did a great job. He actually, he sent me his book at the time. Can you see this?
Oh, wow. Hang on. Let me take the picture down. Hold on a second. Okay. Let's see. And let me make you big.
He sent me his book.
Look at that.
Life. Yeah.
And he signed it.
Yeah,
where's the signature?
Hang on a second.
Did he leave you a little note?
Yeah, he signed the book for me here. See.
Very cool. Let's see. The light's a little low, but that's okay. That is neat. I'll pause it on my TV later and see if I can read it.
It says,
Al, you can make that out.
To Al, this is my story. Hope you enjoy. Wink Martindale.
Very nice. Very nice. What's the retail price on that book? You see it? It's usually on the inside front cover.
If you look on the front, it's got other game show hosts. If you see, can you see it?
Tilt it to the side. There. You had it good. I can see them vaguely around the word life. I see the
face. Hang on a second. Hang on.
There you go. Oh yeah, look at that. Who is that on the cover along with Wink?
Gary Morton, Art Linkletter, Bill Cullen. Who was this guy right here?
Is that Alan Ludden?
Alan Ludden, that's it. And who was this guy on the top? That guy.
Probably Tom Kennedy, but I can't. It's so small. Is that Tom Kennedy? Jack Nar's brother looks like him, but it's so small.
I think it's Jack Nar. Yeah, that's who that is.
Can you show the back cover? We hold up the back cover real quick, buddy.
Oh,
please. He was a dapper man, and I liked his energy and his positivity. And I'll play some clips from Tic-Tac Dough in a little bit. But what was the retail price on that book? Do you see a price?
$24.95.
But it was free to you.
He was also good friends with Elvis, and he sent me there's a CD in the book of him talking about Elvis.
You know, that's a good segue. I have a clip of the King with Wink Martindale I want to play.
Okay.
I haven't even really talked about his life. I have a couple paragraphs to read about the life and the career of the great Wink Martindale, but I have a lot of clips of him. That is really cool. Nicely done there with the lighting. So,
wait a minute, I'll show you one more thing. He also sent me this. This was in the book. Of course, he autographed this for me, too.
Holy smokes, look at that.
With Elvis?
Yeah.
And Dewey Phillips, the guy with the guitar, he's the guy that founded Sun Records, that recorded Elvis's first song in Memphis.
That's so interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, he was really good friends with Elvis. They were longtime friends. And like I said, Sandy, his wife, dated Elvis before she married Wink.
You know what? Let's look at Elvis with Wink Martindale from 1956. This is 1 minute and 19 seconds long.
The magazine covers then, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You just had the feeling. You didn't know what was happening, but the electricity, George, was incredible.
How about the big show at Rustwood Park scheduled for July 4th? Bob Johnson, surely I know, wants us to mention that, and we want to mention it. I believe the proceeds from this show go to the Cynthia Milk Fund. Is that right, Elvis?
Yes, sir, that's right. And I'd like to say let's see, what would I like to say? I'd like to say that we have a diamond ring that we're going to have as a door prize. It's my initial ring. I've had it for some time, and it has 14 diamonds in it. And we're going to give it away at the door as a door prize.
I see.
And everything.
And all the proceeds from this particular show, this is July 4th at Rustwood Park. Elvis is going to be there. He's going to sing and play. His band will be there. Many other stars will be there, too. And we will certainly want you to watch Bob Johnson's column in the Memphis Press Cemetery. Watch all the publicity on it and get your tickets in advance. Elvis Presley, I want to thank you again because we know you're a busy man, and thanks a lot for coming by and seeing us at the dance party and saying hello to all your friends here in Memphis and the Mid-South. And anytime you're in town and want to come by, we certainly will welcome you.
Well, thank you very much, Wink, and I'll see you again.
Okay, thanks a lot. Elvis Presley.
That is so cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
On the if you can see this, here's a picture of Wink and his wife, Sandy.
Oh, yeah. Let's see it like that big real quick.
Sorry, the lighting
helps. Oh, that's nice. Nice color photo. Very nice. Hey, let's look at a clip of Wink talking about meeting Elvis.
All right.
It's about 3 minutes long.
I was doing Clock Watchers, and I happened to be there at WHBQ one night in July of 1954. And I was there that night because some of my high school playing football buddies from Jackson wanted me to show them around WHBQ radio because, as I said, everybody in Jackson listened to WHBQ. So I'm showing them around the station where I do my morning show and all the other studios. And all of a sudden, I see the switchboard light up, lit up like a Christmas tree. And I thought, what's that all about? And we had a DJ at night from 9 to midnight. His name was Dewey Phillips. He did a show called Red Hot and Blue, where literally he played black music for white kids. Now remember, this was before rhythm and blues turned into rock and roll. Talking about 1954. And I went in, I said, excuse me, guys. And I excused myself from the fellas, and I went into his control room, and I discovered that Sam Phillips, who founded Sun Records, had walked in and handed Dewey an acetate copy, not a test pressing, hadn't even been tested yet, but he wanted him to test it on the air to see how this record, this song, would be accepted by the listeners. He played it once, he played it twice, he played it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. The listeners just wanted to hear it over and over again. Played it 7 times in a row. And the name of the song was That's All Right Mama, and it was by a truck driving singer for Crown Electric named Elvis Aaron Presley. And Sam Phillips happened to have the phone number of Gladys and Vernon, his parents, who lived in low-rent housing called Lauderdale Courts out in East Memphis. And I was designated as the one to go to the telephone and call to see where Elvis was because we wanted to get him to come down to the station. And so I called, Gladys answered, and they were listening, and they heard the excitement. And they said, well, he went to the Suzors number 2 over on Decatur Street to see a double feature Western. He was so nervous about his record being played on the air that he went to the theater. So they walked up and down the aisle, found him sitting there by himself in this dark theater, whispered to him about the excitement about That's All Right Mama being generated by Dewey Phillips. And they got in their truck and they went down to, or came down to the Hotel Chiska. We were on South Main Street there in downtown Memphis on the mezzanine floor. And this guy named Elvis walked in. Dewey put him down in front of a microphone and just started talking to him. And he said, I want to interview you. And about 15 minutes after this conversation had transpired, he said, well, that's all I need to know. And I remember Elvis said, I thought you were going to interview me. He said, son, I just did. He had no idea the microphone was on. And he said many times later, had he known he was being interviewed, he wouldn't have been able to talk because he would have been so nervous. So I met Elvis that night. He became my friend, and he continued to be my friend until the day he died.
Yeah, they were really close. He spoke highly of Elvis long after he died. And so WHBQ was the main, rock and roll station in Memphis. And so, but yeah, they were longtime friends. And it's sad that, Elvis has been gone so long and then now Wink is gone. It's really kind of sad, Wink was a great person. He's a true professional. And he was so nice to me, and he thought enough of me to ask me to do his work for that Sinatra show. That was a 4-hour special, and so we broke it down into an hour apiece. But he was really super nice. Of course, he sent me the book and everything. Of course, I worked for Music of Your Life, so he didn't have to pay me. But it was great. It was an honor to do it for him, and he was so pleased with it. And so he thanked me. He called and thanked me for it, and it was just really nice of him to do that.
That's cool.
He was, he was a great personality. He really was.
A lot of energy.
I know on the Music of Life they call him the Winker, but he was, when I was on there, they had Wink Martindale was on from noon to 3, and then in the afternoons you had Gary Owens. He was on from 3 to 7, I think. Johnny Mangus.
You met Gary Owens.
Yeah.
Went to California. What was it? He was from Laugh-In, of course. Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Yeah. When I was in California, I went by KMPC radio. That's where he worked, and KMPC was owned by Gene Autry, the cowboy star.
Right.
He owned the radio station. Anyway, so I went by the studios, and he happened to be on the air, and so I was in the window just watching him, and this is a true story. He said, come in. So I went in and sat with Gary Owens while he was on the air for a little while. And then afterwards, we came out in the hallway and a friend of mine took a picture of us. But yeah, and Gary Owens was, he was on the after, evenings, and then Johnny Mangus and Peter Marshall was on from 9 until noon. And then Wink followed. And when I got started on Music of Your Life, I was in the overnight hours. I was from midnight till 5. And so, but now I'm on Music of Your Life, and I'm on from noon to 4 every day.
Who's your favorite?
I've been on Music of Your Life for probably, I'm 15, 16 years now.
Getting paid. Hey, who is your favorite game show host?
That's a good question. Of course, I like Peter Marshall because I met him and I knew him from Music of Your Life too. Plus, I saw the Hollywood Squares when I was in California, watched the taping. And Gene Rayburn. It'd be a toss-up between Gene Rayburn and Peter Marshall.
You're friendly with Peter Marshall's widow, and I think you've interacted with Sandy, the widow of the great Wink Martindale.
Yeah. I didn't know Sandy. I talked to her briefly, but I Laurie was. Of course, Peter Marshall passed away not long ago. But Laurie and I are still Facebook friends. Yeah.
There's Sandy and Wink. There's Wink Martindale's wife, Sandy.
And like I said, Sandy dated Elvis before she married Wink.
She's a pretty lady.
Yeah. She's still around. Really sweet. Really sweet.
So let's see where I'm at. Oh, yeah. Well, might as well mention that Wink was actually born as Winston Conrad Martindale back on Monday, December 4th, 1933 in Jackson, Tennessee. He's the third of 4 sons. His mother, Frances May, was a housewife, and his father, James Martindale, was a lumber inspector and later worked for Life magazine. Remember Life magazine? Like the Life?
Yeah. I've got some Life magazines. I got some that's got John Wayne on the front, but I have maybe a dozen Life magazines.
I just thought of something. Do you think there's any connection between Life magazine and the Life board game? Because I remember the logo looks kind of similar. Okay, I didn't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Unless my mind's playing tricks on me, like the logo looks similar on the board game as it does for the magazine. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Wink Martindale did start his career, as you've already said, as a disc jockey when he was just 17 years old at
WBCQ, but no.
WPLI.
What?
Jackson, Tennessee is where he was 17. WPLI.
And then when he went to Memphis, it was WHBQ.
Right. But he started his career at just 17 at WPLI in Jackson, Tennessee, earning $25 a week. After moving to WTJS, I don't know where that is. Is that in Tennessee? Do you know, Al, off the top of your head? You know these radio call letters pretty well.
WJQS, I used to be on with Music of Your Life, but that's...
but call letters change over the years, so who knows, right?
True. But you think about it, Wink Martindale got started in radio, and then he progressed into television and the game shows, but he never really left radio. Radio, once you start radio, you never really give it up.
And he has that great voice. I mean, he's in demand. He's a name.
Even though I was a disc jockey for years on Kicks, and then I did production for when Cumulus bought for 106.7. But you never really get out of radio. I mean, my little studio has a radio board. It came from a radio station. So you never get out of radio if you've been in it for as long as Wink has, or me, for example. Even though I'm not working in it anymore,
Yes, you are. Music for Your Life. You already mentioned that.
Well, that's true, but I do it from home.
So that's working. It's modern technology. You're getting paid. So that's good.
I got if this is an old one. When I do Music of Your Life, what they do, they send me the music. Can you see this? I don't know.
Yeah, I can a little bit.
See, there it is. It's kind of, my printer was getting low, but anyway, they send me the music right here, and where I've got those little lines is where I have to do a voice track.
Right.
A back announce, and Wink
introduce the song, right?
Yeah. I don't pick the songs; they pick your music for you. But anyway.
Right. Do you get to ad lib anecdotes about the songs, or do you have to stick to the script?
Yes, of course.
All right.
It's this.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. And so they send you your music, and you lay down your liners, and you have to put them in a folder. Hang on a second. You put them in a folder, and I just send them to them. We use a Dropbox program. I just send and actually when I send the tracks, it actually perpetrates their log. It actually will drop the tracks into their automation system when I send it.
That's pretty cool. Well, getting back to the life of Wink Martindale. All right, so he was earning $25 a week, and after he moved to WTJS Radio, he was hired away for double the salary, $50 a week, by Jackson, Tennessee's only other radio station, WDXI.
Mm-hmm.
Next, he hosted mornings at WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee, while he was a college student at Memphis State University before graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree in 1957. And while at Memphis State, Martindale was a member of the Kappa Sigma fraternity. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm listening.
All right. Well, I won't bore you with this.
Go ahead.
On the evening of July 10th, 1954, Wink Martindale was showing the WHBQ studio to some friends when he realized that his colleague on the 9 p.m. to midnight shift, Dewey Phillips, was getting a large number of reactions from listeners after airing a new song. The song was Elvis Presley's first record, That's All Right.
That's All Right, Mama.
Yep, That's All Right, Mama.
Yes.
That he talked about. You heard Wink in the interview earlier in his own words talking about that song. The song was recorded at Sam Phillips Recording Studio on the evening of July 5th, 1954. Sam, who had brought the record on July 6th, was in the WHBQ studio on the first airing night and had Elvis's telephone number. DJ Dewey Phillips wanted to interview Elvis during his program, so Wink endeavored to contact Elvis, but Gladys Presley, Elvis's mother, answered the phone and said Elvis was so nervous that he had gone to a movie theater.
Well, Elvis, his first job was in a movie theater. He was an usher.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an usher in a movie theater.
Now,
way
Gladys,
before he was a singer.
And Elvis's mother, Gladys, and her husband, Vernon, brought Elvis to WHBQ, and Dewey interviewed Elvis without his knowing that he was actually on the air. And Wink Martindale reported that Elvis later admitted that he would have been unable to talk otherwise if he knew he was live on the air.
Yeah, he was kind of shy early on before he became really, really big. He was sort of shy.
And of course, he served in the U.S. Army.
That's a great story. They didn't let him know they were recording him. You know,
was that before he was in the Army? You think? I could look that up.
Yeah.
When was Elvis in the Army? Do you know off the top of your head?
You have to Google.
Let me look it up.
Just look it up.
I'll look it up.
50 something.
Yep, Elvis military.
He went into the Army. Let's see.
Oh, he was drafted in the Army in 1958. So after that, and served for 2 years from 1958 to 1960. So that would have helped him get over his nerves and his jitters, I would think.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, they have a Sirius satellite radio from Memphis. They have a studio there, which is a 24-hour Elvis channel.
Wow. Let's see. So Wink Martindale's rendition of the spoken word song "Deck of Cards."
Yes, that was a big hit.
Yeah, it says it went to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and sold over 1 million copies in 1959. In Canada, it reached number 3 on the charts. It also peaked at number 5 in the UK singles chart in April 1963, one of 4 visits to the chart for Wink Martindale.
I've got a copy of it somewhere on 45.
Wink followed that up with Black Land Farmer. He talked about that. In 1959, he became a morning man at KHJ in Los Angeles, California, moving a year later to the morning show at KRLA and finally to KFWB in 1962.
KFWB, yeah. KHJ was a big rock and roll station.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Wink is best suited for, the easy listening type format, like Music of Your Life. That was his favorite genre of music.
Why are there just 3 call letters for KHJ? Does that mean it was one of the first radio stations in the U.S.?
Back in the early days of these big, and that was a big 50,000 watt clear channel at the time. Back in the early days, radio stations had only 3 call letters, just like WSB in Atlanta.
Welcome South, brother. That's what it stands for, and it is a clear channel, right?
Right. Yeah. And it was
mainly back to World War II, right?
The clear channels, they had 3 call signs most of the time.
For the layman out there, please explain what a clear channel is. It means they don't have to power down.
Well, it's like Chicago. Chicago had WLS. That was a clear channel means that there's no other station on that frequency. And like WSB 750, there's no other station in the country on 750. It's clear channel, and that's why they can run 50,000 watts day and night because there's nobody else that would interfere.
Because most stations have to power down their signal. You ever notice anyone who is new to radio in terms of listening, how some stations on the AM dial at night, you can't hear them very well. It's because
the reason they power down, a lot of them power down is because there's other stations on that frequency. And at night, your AM signal, it bounces off the stratosphere. Actually, the signal goes up and then bounces across the country. And so it would just actually interfere. If you had 2 stations, say on 750 running, they would just interfere with one another. You couldn't, now in Atlanta, you would be able to hear it fine, but out away from Atlanta, you wouldn't be able to hear it because it would be trying to pick up 2 different signals on the same frequency.
Correct. It would just bleed.
They set up clear channels. They set up clear channels back in the day because a lot of rural areas did not have radio stations in small towns and farming communities. And so they set up clear channels so people could get news and information anytime, especially at night. And so they were set up for that purpose.
That's cool. That's a good little history lesson about radio.
Because there's so many towns and communities that didn't have a radio station for the longest. Of course, everybody does now, mostly FM. But that's why they were set up.
Tracy mentions WGN.
Yeah.
That's a radio station and a TV station. There's 2, right?
Oh, WLS is in Chicago, WGN's in Chicago, but WGN's got a radio station too, I do believe.
That's what she's saying. She used to live in Chicago. She's in Florida now.
Right? They have a radio station too, of course, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's a clear channel, right?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So after, and I mentioned in 1962, let's see, Wink went to KFWB. He also had lengthy stays at KGIL AM from 1968 to 1971, KKGO FM, and KJQI. And
KKGO was an easy listening station.
Yes, and you mentioned this, and Gene Autry's radio station, KMPC. Now the call letters for that station are KSPN AM. But he was there from 1971 to 1979 under Gene Autry, and again from 1983 to 1987. The short-lived Wink and Bill show on KABC during 1989 and KJQI from 1993 to 1994 were also places that Wink worked in radio.
Well, KMPC, I've got pictures of that studio, but it was nice. I mean, but it they were sort of an easy listening station. They didn't play hard rock and roll or anything. They played Sinatra and that sort of stuff, the standards. And
wow.
so,
I don't know if you know this, Martindale acted in a short futuristic documentary film about home life in the year 1999, produced by the Philco Ford Corporation, which predicted, among other things, internet commerce.
I don't.
That was in 1967. Back in '67, they did a documentary about 1999, a futuristic documentary film.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'd like to go back and look at it.
It's probably on YouTube.
Yeah, and then, of course, as you mentioned, he segued into television. And Martindale's first break into television was at WHBQ-TV in Memphis, Tennessee, as the host of Mars Patrol. Let me do that right. Mars Patrol, a science fiction-themed children's television series. At his tenure with WHBQ, he became the host of the teenage TV show Dance Party from 1955 to 1959. That's probably a knockoff on...
Well, dance parties, a lot of big cities had dance parties. And of course, and later on, American Bandstand became popular.
That's it. In Philadelphia, right. With,
and
Dick
so, but yeah, a lot of stations, even my hometown of Wilmington in North Carolina, they had a dance party on Saturdays.
Shindig was like a dance party on network TV. Anyway.
Well, you had Shindig, you had Hullabaloo, and you had Where the Action Is.
Yeah, Where the Action Is. What a great title. So anyway, when he was hosting Dance Party from 55 to 59, that's where his friend Elvis Presley made an appearance on June 16th, 1956. I played that clip earlier. Anyone who's tuning in late. And following Elvis Presley's death in 1977, Wink Martindale aired a nationwide tribute radio special in Elvis's honor. Now, here's a cool little show. I'm going to show you a picture of this one. It's kind of like the original Name That Tune called What's This Song? That was Martindale's first game show hosting job, was on the show What's This Song, which he hosted for NBC, but he was credited as Win Martindale, like Win Big. Yeah. Win Martindale. And that was from 1964 to 1965, just a year. From 1970 to 1971, Wink Martindale hosted a similar song recognition game show titled Words and Music, again for NBC. His first major success came in 1972 when he took the MC position on a new CBS game show called Gambit. He spent 4 years hosting the original Gambit and later hosted a Las Vegas-based revival for 13 months in 1980 to 1981. That's a good stopping point to show some clips. Let me show you a picture of Wink on the set of What's
before you get going, acknowledge some of the text. Like,
oh yeah, I need to look at the chat.
She said, or he, I'm not sure. This is the most I've ever learned about radio. Chance and Al know their stuff.
Oh, Al knows his stuff. Al, he's a radio engineer. I mean, we met at Cumulus Media. We worked there for 5 years, as I mentioned earlier, and he would put shows together, the weekend shows, a lot of the paid programs, financial shows. Al, but before that, like I said, he was an on-air personality.
Well, I worked at Kicks for like 30 years. But anyway,
with Moby in the morning. Moby's a big radio name out of Texas and Georgia.
I used to produce his show. But anyway, when Chance I was already working at Cumulus, and Chance came on board as a sales guy.
I sure did.
And that's how we met, because I found out that he was a film collector, and so was I. And that's how we kind of hooked up.
And I would bring prints of like Voice in the Bottom of the Sea and Outer Limits and let you borrow them. And then you eventually invited me over to your home, and we watched film in your wonderful basement. You got like a home theater. You got modern projection systems as well as classic 35 millimeter and 16. And
Chance used to Because at Cumulus, there was always a lot of free food floating around. And I didn't go to work until 1 in the afternoon. And
you had every Monday off. You had almost every Monday off. You had a 3-day weekend every weekend.
And Chance would always save food for me.
I did. I was trying to pick your brain about how to produce a show. I always wanted to do a nostalgia show. I mean, really, I had genuine, friendly vibes, but I was definitely learning from you a lot. So here's Wink on the set of What's This Song? Look how young he was there.
Oh, yeah.
Here he is in the 1960s. I like that shot.
He has a great smile.
Definitely. Let's look at a clip of Wink in his own words talking about his big breakthrough with his career when he started in the business. Let's see, where is it? It's right here. Here he is about him getting hired for a gig.
When I was 17 years old, right out of high school, it so happened that my Sunday school teacher at Lambeth Memorial Methodist Church also happened to run the little 250-watt station WPLI, smallest station in town. And I remember saying to him at Sunday school all the time, Chick, his name was Chick Wingate, Chick, when are you going to give me a job? When are you going to give me a job? I want to work at the radio station. And he was, no, he put me off. Until one night, I'm sitting, as you know, every small town has its court square. And I was sitting there on the bar one night by the bank with two of my high school football buddies, Dickie Bear and Charlie Pate. The three of us are sitting there on this hot summer night, and in up pulls Chick Wingate, the manager of the station, in his little Henry J automobile. The reason he was there, the radio station was on the 4th floor of the First National Bank building where we were seated. I said, Chick, when are you going to give me a... He said, come on upstairs. So I said, oh, my God. So we got in the elevator, went upstairs, the 4th floor. He sat me in front of a microphone. He ripped off some Associated Press wire copy and a couple of commercials, and he handed them to me, and he said, let me hear you do these. Little did he know that I had been practicing for these many years. My dad, one of the things that he got as lumber inspector, he didn't make much money, but every Christmas he would get a $50 bonus and a year's subscription to Life magazine. So I grew up reading Life magazine, and I would tear out the advertisement pages of Life magazine, and I would go into the back bedroom where we slept, close the door, and I would pretend I was on the radio, and I would ad-lib commercials from what I read on these advertisements. And it helped me, learn how to ad-lib, and helped me to learn how to sell a commercial. So little did Chick know that night, I had been rehearsing for this moment. And I knocked those 2 commercials out like Grant going through Richmond. He couldn't believe it. And I read some news, and I always took pride in my news reading ability. So I read the news perfectly. He said, you come down here tomorrow after school, and George Smith will be here. He was the mayor of Jackson, and he owned this little 250-watt station. He said, he'll be here. You do this for him, and if he likes what he hears, we'll hire you. He came. I conquered. $25 a week was my first job at WPLI, and that's the way I got started in radio.
How about that?
I love those stories like that. That's so cool. And
Life magazine comes up again, and that's called back scratching, what he just described.
Yeah, but he was so good at a game show host. He was so good on the radio. He was such a professional. He was one of my favorites on Music of Your Life. I listened to him every day.
I could listen to him for hours with that smooth voice.
Oh, yeah. He was great. He was great. There'll never be another Wink, that's for sure. And it's really sad that, he's no longer with us. Of course, he lived to be 91 years old. But gosh, he was such a talent on television and on radio.
And here's Wink talking about his first game show.
That was the first game show that I ever did. It was a local TV show, and it was produced by a guy named Ralph Andrews and Bill Yegeman, Andrews Yegeman Productions, who I would end up doing several shows for. But that was the first game show I ever did. Zoom was a very simple format. You'd have players who would compete to recognize what it was that this camera was zooming out from.
They'd start real close on a person, place, or thing, and then with every correct answer on the part of my two players, whoever answered correctly, would zoom back a little bit. And then with another correct answer, a little more, and a little more, and a little more. Zoom, that's where the title came from. Until you saw enough of the person, place, or thing to answer correctly. Very simple format, and I always liked that idea, though, because I think it could be a hit again today.
It's a cool idea. So when you started hosting Zoom, did you sort of realize that this was a great format for you, the game show format? Or
You know, I never really got into the real idea of being a game show host, although I enjoyed doing Zoom, and I enjoyed doing, about a year later, another show called What's the Name of That Song? It was a KTLA locally produced show. The producers had the understanding that if it became successful locally, it would go on NBC. Well, it became successful, and it went on NBC, called What's This Song? Shortened for TV Guide. They like the short titles. But I did those two, and that was my first network game show, What's This Song? It was on NBC for only a year. But prior to getting What's This Song, I used to get off the air in the morning on KFWB, and I would rush home after breakfast to watch a show called Password. I became addicted to Alan Ludden's Password. Now, this was after Zoom and before What's This Song? But I just loved that simple format. And I did some research on Alan Ludden, and I discovered that he came in 2 days a week, knocked out 10 shows, and the other 5 days he played golf.
Right.
And I thought, man, this is not a bad way to make a buck. So I went to my agent, Noel Rubeloff, Abrams, Rubeloff and Associates, and I said, Noel, I understand that, and I explained what I had just researched on Alan. He said, yeah, that's the way game shows are done. And I said, I'd love for you to send me out on some game show auditions. Well, he did. And the second audition I went on was for What's This Song?
Pretty cool. He's a smart guy.
Cool. You know, but that is true. When I was in California, when I was in Burbank, I went to NBC and watched them tape Hollywood Squares. And they did 5 shows in one sitting. In other words, they would tape a show, take a break, come back, do another show, take a break, do another show. So they did 5 shows in one day. And so when you work a whole week and you do 5 shows per week, then you can take the rest of the time off.
Yeah. Match Game would be taped on the weekend, too. And Gene Rayburn lived in New York. He would fly to California like Judge Judy Scheinle did for Judge Judy. Right. She would tape so many cases and segments. She'd work I think Vanna White said she works 37 days a year.
Yeah, they're paid well for it.
And I think she's fantastic with Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest is a great game show host for Wheel of Fortune, I think. I was critical. He's amazing, and he's from Atlanta.
I was critical before he started doing it. He's turned out to do a good job.
Yeah. He has really good chemistry with Vanna and with the contestants. Anyway, I digress. So that's most people know Wink, of course, from Tic-Tac Dough, but I just wanted to give a little bit of history. And What's This Song? You know, it's a shame we can't have shows like that because of music rights and music royalties. I love Name That Tune when I was a little kid, and that was Kathy Lee Gifford as Kathy Lee Johnson singing.
Well, I was pretty good. I was pretty good at guessing those songs.
And that was Tom Kennedy, Jack Nar's brother, who hosted Name That Tune. But it sounds like it was a knockoff on this NBC show that only lasted a year that Wink hosted. Let me get that picture right.
I'm gonna play this for you. You know, when I did the Sinatra special for Wink, I had this little. Listen to this. This is Frank Sinatra. Listen to this.
This is Francis Albert Sinatra, and you are listening to the music of your life.
That's great. Play that again.
You want to hear it again?
Yeah.
This is Francis Albert Sinatra, and you are listening to the music of your life.
Thought that was cool.
What a great voice, man.
I know.
God.
Yeah.
Sounds like like the Godfather.
This is what we can't play much of it because of music, but this is what hour one sounded like when it opened. Let's see here.
Now this could only happen to a guy like me, and only happen in a town like this.
I hope we don't get.
Oh yeah. Got to talk over it or something.
I'll turn it down, but
that's okay. I'll edit it out after the fact. I'm kidding.
I want you to hear the intro by Wink. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. I got it downloaded. You can't hear it. But, Wink was I can't say it enough, how I was impressed with his work.
Right.
I was really impressed with all his work. It's really a shame. But I had
immortal, though. With his music.
I worked with him for a long time on Music of Your Life, so. And like I said, he reached out to me to put that show together for him. So
yeah. So I mentioned Gambit, the CBS game show. That was his first major success in 1972. That was the same year that The Price is Right started with Bob Barker as host. Of course, Bill Cullen hosted the 1960s Price is Right and late 1950s. Let's look at a little bit of Gambit, if you don't mind. This was just the opening of Gambit. Let me switch to my clips as we're live. And this is what came in. And anyone out there watching live, Tracy, if you're still with us, I want you to see what Gambit looked like. And it's right here.
Today on Gambit, match this half a check with this half and win $10,000. And now from Television City in Hollywood, here's your host on Gambit, Wink Martindale.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Williams. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Here we are ready to play a little blackjack again with you. We call it Gambit. We play with a regular deck of 52 cards, and our dealer, as always, is Elaine Stewart. Good morning, Elaine.
Good morning, Wink. How are you?
Fine and dandy, thank you.
Good. I like your jacket. That's really red, white, and blue.
Yes, sir. Wear that once a summer. So let's get to it, because we just got started yesterday, and we ran out of time. The remaining cards in the deck we were using have been reshuffled and resealed. Elaine, would you break the seal, please, Mr. DeVore, as you did yesterday? Give the cards a cut, and we will get started. By the way, in addition to our $10,000 at the Gambit board, if anybody can find the two right half checks, we also have in our Gambit jackpot a grand total of $1,000. It starts at $500, goes up $500 a day, and today it's worth it.
If you like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more.
I got that from Wink Martindale's YouTube channel. God rest his soul.
I like Gambit. I remember it.
Let's listen to a little bit of Wink talking about hosting the show Gambit, if you don't mind, sir.
Go ahead.
Gambit is a show that was based on Blackjack 21, and it was produced by Heater Quigley Productions in Beverly Hills. Merrill Heater and Bob Quigley. Merrill turned out to be a dear friend. He's still a friend to this day.
And they produced Hollywood Squares.
Correct. So they had a great deal of success going into Gambit. And the main thing that I remember about Gambit is, and this is literally true, they auditioned practically every possible host in this city. So for me and I remember it came down to between me and Dick Clark. And this is one time I beat Dick Clark. So I ended up getting the job as host of Gambit. Very proud of that. And we did it we did the pilot at CBS. It sold, and we were on about 5 years at CBS. It was two couples, and the dealer, who happened to be Merrill's wife,
Elaine Stewart.
Elaine Stewart, who's a former popular actress in the movies, beautiful lady. She was the dealer, and I would ask a question. They would buzz in. Whoever buzzed in first would answer the question, and they could either take the card from her or pass it, depending on what the card's totals came to be. Sometimes you could bust somebody on the other side. Sometimes it would give you 21, whatever. But that was basically the game, trying to get to 21 without going over. A great game, a popular game. And
what do you think made it popular?
I think because it was so simplistic, everybody knows how to play 21. Everybody knows how to play blackjack. And I think the simpler the game, the more popular the game for the most part. Hollywood squares, 3 X's, 3 O's, crossways, up and down, diagonally. And later, of course, Tic-Tac Dough, same thing. People gravitate, especially people at home, gravitate to games that they know. They can sit there and they say to themselves, man, I could have gotten that. I could play that game. And when you get that from a home viewer or an audience, a person in the audience, you got them captured. I've never understood why Gambit didn't have a longer run. Problem was, we came up against a show that was perhaps just a little bit better. I remember saying to our producer, Bob Noah, one day, I said, Bob, you know that new show that just came on NBC opposite us? He said, yeah. I said, not a thing to worry about. I watched it. He said, never say that, because as soon as you say that, that show will come up and bite you in the butt. Well, it bit us in the butt big time. That show happened to be Wheel of Fortune.
What?
I said dun dun dun.
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. It's still on. You
Oh,
know, I remember when I would stay home from school, if I was sick or something. I would lay in the den in our home in North Carolina and watch game shows, because back then there were nothing but game shows in the morning on television. On ABC, CBS, and NBC, nothing but game shows.
Yeah.
You know, and then after the game shows and local news, you had the soap operas. But I always watched the game shows. And I remember distinctly watching the match game more than anything, I do believe, when I was a kid.
I was watching Price is Right with Bob Barker when I would be home sick, or even if I was pretending to be sick.
I like that. I also like Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah, and I liked Joker's Wild.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah.
I like that format, like a slot machine.
And what was the game show that had the whammy?
Oh, Press Your Luck.
Yeah, that's a favorite show. I always like the animated characters and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed that one too. I really like that.
Yeah. Wow.
So how many game shows did Wink host?
How many game shows? He also hosted a show called Debt. You remember Debt?
No, I don't remember that. I don't believe.
All right. Well, I have a clip to maybe
you do.
Educate you a little bit about Debt. And I'll tell you a little bit about it in just a sec.
I love Debt. I was at my desk one day and got a call from Michael Davies, who was a producer at that time at Disney. And they were getting ready to produce this show called Debt for the Lifetime cable network. And he wanted me to come in for an interview regarding hosting the show. So I, the next day, went over to Disney, met with Michael, and he ended up hiring me to host it. And it's one of my favorite shows. Debt is where we paid off young people's debts up to $10,000, their credit card debt or whatever. And it was just a real fun show. As you know, you were one of the contestants.
My debts were $8,500 and they were wiped out from that show.
Yeah.
So thank you, Wink.
Well, you know, the first season of Debt,
which was the one I was on,
was terrific. Yeah. The colors on the set matched the colors on a Visa card.
Yeah.
And after that first season, not only did Visa make us stop using those colors, change the colors. That wasn't so bad. Change the color of the set and the credit card. But we also received a complaint from Merv and Jeopardy that some of our questions and answers were too much in the form of a Jeopardy question and answer, answer and question. So they sued us, and they won the lawsuit. So the second season of Debt never quite came up to that first season. We had to change the way the game was played. We couldn't do the answer question. We had to do it question, answer.
Right.
And it just never was the same, and the ratings showed it. So after 2 seasons, unfortunately, Debt went by the wayside. But it was a terrific show.
What do you think was appealing about the show?
Well,
in the first season.
I think it had three different, I forget what they were, but each element of the show between 3 different commercials were different.
Mm-hmm.
You had this level, and then you moved to this level, and then you moved to this level. And then whoever won went on to play the bonus game, which you had to do in a certain amount of time. Debt was a good show, and it should have had a longer run. And I still have to this day, people write me, email me, call me, why don't you bring back Debt? They don't realize it ain't that easy.
I think that show had the wrong. I don't think Debt was a great name for the game show.
No.
What are your thoughts?
Negative. I agree. I think it's negative, but I love the format. I'm gonna play a clip of it in just a second.
I mean, it's a grand idea for a game show, but they should have come up with a different title for the show, in my opinion.
Well, what would you have named it?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Windfall or something like something
to do with money.
Jackpot. No, there was a jackpot. But
here's your money or something. I don't know. It had to, it had to be something to deal with money.
Right. Let me look something up here.
And not debt.
Oh, hang on. Let me see. I'm going to see when that. It was a 1990s game show, by the way. Did you know that? Al?
No.
Maybe that's why you never heard of it.
Seen it.
Let's see. The Debt Game Show ran from June 3rd, 1996 until August 14th, 1998. And it was produced by Disney's parent company, Buena Vista Television.
Was it on a network or just syndicated?
Syndicated.
Oh.
It was a syndicated show.
I don't think an Atlanta station carried that. Do you remember?
No, I sure don't. Well, you know what? Check that. People probably screaming at me. It was on the Lifetime Cable Network. Cable, syndicated. Lifetime Cable Network, original. Let's look at a clip of Debt, if you don't mind. I think I have it ready.
Go ahead.
It's a brief clip. It's just 3 minutes long of the bonus round. And then I do need to get to the chat. I'm sorry, chatters, people watching live. I'm going to keep putting your comments on the screen, and I'm going to read some on the air in just a little bit. I'm not trying to be rude. Okay. It's processing. I did this on the fly. I should have had this prepared. But here is the game show, Debt. Wait for it. It'll be great. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it. It's going to be awesome. While we wait, why don't we look at Wink in 1959 on Deck of Cards? Oh, I'm sorry. That's the song.
That was on Dot Records. I love Dot Records.
I knew that, folks. Hang on.
During the North African campaign, a bunch of soldier boys had been on a long hike. They arrived in a little town called Casino. The next morning, being Sunday, several of the boys went to church. A sergeant commanded the boys in church, and after the chaplain had read the prayer, the text was taken up next. Those of the boys who had a prayer book took them out, but this one boy had only a deck of cards, and so he spread them out. A sergeant saw the cards and said, "Soldier, put away those cards." After the service was over, the soldier was taken prisoner and brought before the provost marshal. The marshal said, "Sergeant, why have you brought this man here?" "For playing cards in church, sir." "And what have..."
I better stop it right there.
Sometimes spoken word songs are really good, like Deck of Cards, and you had Lauren Green that did Ringo, and then you had a lot of spoken word songs that actually did really well. Orson Welles did one, but that one by Wink was real popular. And like I said, Dot Records was out of Tennessee, and Pat Boone recorded on Dot Records, and a lot of famous people did. But Dot came out of, it may have been Memphis, but I'm pretty sure it was a Tennessee label.
Yes. Here's the clip of debt. Here's the bonus round.
That means we're going to pay off your entire debt of $7,545. Now, because you played the game so well, we're offering you the opportunity to bet your debt. When we selected you to be a player on debt, you told us your specialty category in the world of pop culture was Sesame Street characters. Before the show, we prepared one question about Sesame Street characters, and if you can answer the question correctly, we'll not only pay off your debt of $7,545, we'll give you that same amount in cash. And here it is in this briefcase with our debt security guard, Smiling Jack. However, if you go for it and miss, you know you'll be back $7,545 in the hole, Deborah. It's a big risk, but it's a big payoff. We're going to give you a little time to think on it as we take our final commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Scientific time for another big money moment on debt.
Welcome back to Debt, everybody. Well, here she is. Deborah, the moment for your decision is upon you. You've had some time to think it over. If you go for it, this question, in this case, will be worth $15,090. So what's it going to be? Do you want to risk it all, go for the big payoff, or stop now and walk away with your bills paid off? They say go for it.
My little sisters will kill me if I don't go for Sesame Street, so I'm going to go for it.
You are going to go for it, okay. It's your favorite category, Sesame Street characters. You've got 10 seconds to give me an answer when I ask this question. So, Deborah, I wish you the very best of luck. Sesame Street characters, here's your question. I am the name of the Muppeteer who currently performs the characters Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch on the Sesame Street TV series.
You are Carol Spinney. Right?
You are $15,090 rich. Yes! Congratulations to you. That's her money now. That's hers to keep. That's all the time we have left. We're going to be back next time with 3 more big spenders like this, and we'll do our best to help them get out of... Yeah. I'm Wink Martindale. Goodbye, everybody.
Promotional consideration provided by The Island Fine Quick-Made Kitchen Accessories.
Whoops.
Bad looking set, really, for the time it came out. Huh?
It wasn't bad. Sorry about the bad audio in that clip. That's the best I could find.
That was probably, TV money. Wasn't real money in that briefcase, probably.
Reminds me of Deal or No Deal. Deal or No Deal came after that show, Debt. With the suitcases full of money. Okay, so, of course, most people know Wink from this show. And I love this show. It was one of my favorite game shows of all time. Of course, I'm talking about, say it with me, Al, talking about Tic-Tac Dough.
Invite Wink Martindale into your house and enjoy an exciting evening of Tic-Tac Dough.
I guarantee you it'll be fun and exciting.
Join a pair of contestants winning big, falling to the dragon, and offering some personal confession.
I got picked up in a bar.
With his winning smile, intense devotion, and unsurpassed courtesy.
Who is that lousy character over there?
You're sure to find it exciting.
Oh, wow.
Tic-Tac Dough, tonight at 7, here on Channel 30.
I like the theme. Crazy Fun is the name of the theme song for Tic-Tac Dough.
It wasn't too bad. But, you look at game shows back then and the amount of money, like $250 was a lot of money back then. Now, like on Wheel of Fortune, it's like $1,000. That's the lowest amount you can, and then it goes on up.
Doesn't even cover your hotel and airfare, $1,000 to get to LA.
Yeah, no, but the thing about it is, on game shows now, like on Jeopardy, if you don't win anything, they still give you $1,000 when you leave.
And in California, I think they tax that 50%, so it's more like $500.
Yeah, you have to pay taxes on it. It's just like if you win a car, like
Tag,
right. You have to pay the tax on the car.
Yeah, and the title, all that. Yeah,
it's not completely free. Yeah, it's going to cost you some money.
Right, as the people on Oprah's audience found out the hard way that time. You get a car. You get a car.
Car.
Yeah. You get a bill, you get a tax bill. No, I was actually very generous of her. Okay, I'm going to play a clip of Tic-Tac-Dough. There was a record winner, Tom McKee, and his first name is not like Tom Williams. It's Thom in terms of the spelling. Tom McKee, he was a naval officer, and he earned well over $100,000, which was a lot in 1980 money. And he had the record of most game show earnings until Ken Jennings came along in 2004 on Jeopardy. I'm going to play a clip. This is something I recorded off the Game Show Network in 2008 from a 1980 appearance of Tom McKee. And I love the dragon that you saw in that promo, by the way. This guy in the bonus round, you wanted to avoid him. That's the dragon. And the dragon, I think the early designers of Atari games, like the Atari 2600, must have designed the dragon, because it reminded me of this guy in a little game called Adventure on Atari.
Yeah.
I don't know. Call me crazy. It reminded me of that.
Early computer graphics for games.
Yes, they were, my friend. So here's Tom McKee on Tic-Tac-Dough. Or should we talk about the history of the show a little bit before I show the clip to set it up? Of course, that is his number one MC role for Wink Martindale, Tic-Tac-Dough. He was picked by Barry Enright Productions to host the Revived series in 1978, because Tic-Tac-Dough goes back to the 1950s, Al Hardee.
I know.
Didn't you? It started on September 12th, 1957, and it ran through December 29th, 1958. In terms of the original Tic-Tac-Dough, the format for that nighttime quiz show was essentially the same of that of its daytime counterpart. Jay Jackson hosted the nighttime show, but only for its premiere episode. He was replaced the following week by Win Elliott, W-I-N Win, who remained with it until it was canceled, kind of like Wink was credited as Win, that I talked about earlier. But the game itself was a variation of Tic-Tac-Toe, in which each contestant put an X or an O in a given box by answering a question in the category covering that box. After each round, one question each contestant, the categories were rotated to different boxes. The value of the outside box questions was $300, and the tougher center box questions were worth $500. The winner kept the cash value of the correct questions he or she had answered. In a tie game, the winnings were added to the value of the next game. NBC aired a weekday daytime edition of Tic-Tac-Dough from July 1956 until October 1959. The MCs of the daytime version were Jack Barry, Gene Rayburn, and Bill Wendell, who was the voice of Late Night with David Letterman in the NBC years and early CBS years. Nearly 20 years later, in 1978, here's where Wink Martindale comes in, Tic-Tac-Dough was revived as a daytime series on CBS. And simultaneously, a 5-episode per week syndicated Tic-Tac-Dough was produced. Wink Martindale emceed both, with his workload cut in half when the CBS version was canceled in September 1978 after less than 2 months on the air. The syndicated version, however, remained in production through the 1985 to 1986 season. Jim Caldwell replaced Wink Martindale as the MC host in the fall of 1985 for its last year. So there is a new revival of Tic-Tac-Dough, by the way. Did you know that?
No.
It started on the Game Show Network. And, well, I'll get to it in a minute. But if you want to watch the classic Tic-Tac-Dough, which has not run on the Game Show Network, otherwise known as GSN, since 2008, there will be a marathon tomorrow as we're live on Easter Sunday 2025 from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. Anyone who has access to the Game Show Network, I do. I'll be recording those. I probably already have them because I taped.
I think you probably already have all those. You record a bunch of those.
I have tapes. You can't even see on camera how much videotape I have of game shows that I recorded off the Game Show Network in the 90s and
you ever watch them?
2000s. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Here, let's watch a little bit now of Tic-Tac Dough with Tom McKee that I set up about 10 minutes ago. And this is his epic record game show winning run. Let's watch a little bit.
He is Lieutenant Tom McKee. To date, in a tremendous display of broad knowledge and good luck, he has played 24 games and has amassed in cash and prizes a total of $105,950. How much longer will his winning streak continue? We'll find out in a moment as, from Hollywood, it's everybody's game of strategy, knowledge, and fun. It's Tic-Tac Dough. And now, here's our host, Wink Martindale.
Thank you very much, Bob Hilton. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good taste. Good taste. Great audience. Thank you for being with us. And let's get started by meeting very close up that current champion who's won so much cash and so many trips and so many. It's mind-boggling. Here he is.
Our current champion, whose winnings total in cash and prizes $105,950, is a Navy pilot who enjoys horses and weightlifting. Meet Tom McKee. And his opponent was born in Hong Kong. He's now a dentist in Los Angeles. He enjoys sports and Scottish dancing. Meet Gordon Ting.
Gordon's one of those guys who is always going to look young. I don't know how. Tell us how old you are, Gordon.
Well, let's see. As of the end of March, I was 31.
31 years young and already a dentist and practicing in Los Angeles?
Just fledgling.
What happens when a fellow small in stature like yourself comes up against, say you got a big guy, weighs about 300 pounds, he comes in and wants you to pull his teeth. Can you pull a tooth? I mean, and take care of that all right?
Well, I kind of get around the whole thing. I don't pull teeth.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That solves that problem right there. Gordon, welcome back. We didn't have time to get a game started. We'll do that in just a moment. What do you say, big champion?
Not much.
Big man, little man here. Going to be a good battle, I got a feeling. $105,950 in cash and merchandise to his credit so far. And you're ready to do it again, aren't you?
I'll try.
Would you beat this young man here?
Yeah, I would.
Watch him try. Here we go. Gordon Ting and Tom McKee, and here are the categories we're going to be playing with. Tom, Gordon, take a look. The subjects for the game are Wild West, one-word titles, astrology, maps of nations, numbers, women in film, men of ideas, poetry, and famous pairs. Tom?
Wink, let's try numbers in the center.
Okay, for $300 to the pot, a little harder, give you some extra time. As you know, the following questions refer to musical instruments. 1, I want you to name the number of strings on a violin. And then name the total of black and white keys on a standard piano. Think about that, Tom. Name the number of strings on a violin.
I think it's 4.
That's right. Name the total of black and white keys on a standard piano.
62?
No, 88. 88 keys. Okay, so we'll move the categories around, and still no money in the pot yet, and Gordon Ting's going to see if he can do something about that in a hurry. Gordon?
Well, let's see. I'm going to go with, let's go with women in film.
Women in film, it shall be. Here's the question for that center box, Gordon. This 1975 film won Oscars for the acting pair who played the leading roles. Jack Nicholson played Randall McMurphy, while this actress played the role of a strong-willed head nurse named Ratchet. First, Gordon, I want you to give me the complete title of the film, and then name the actress who played Nurse Ratchet, and I'll give you a few seconds to think. Gordon, we're talking about a picture. Give me the complete title of the film.
I believe it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
You're right. Name the actress who played Nurse Ratchet.
Louise Fletcher?
Right. Good for that center box. He's got his first goal on the board. 300 in the pot. Let's shuffle. All right, Tom.
Wink. I think I'll go with
One-word titles in the bottom left.
Okay, here's the question, Tom. This popular 1979 comedy movie with a one-word title starred Bill Murray as the head counselor of a wacky summer camp. Name the film.
Meatballs.
Yes, that's it. Put an X there. Let's shuffle again. Different positions on the board by the various subjects. $500 in the pot. Gordon Ting.
I'm going to go with famous pairs.
Famous pairs in the center on the left side. Gordon, one of the most popular cartoon teams consisted of a flying squirrel named Rocky and his clumsy pal, a large antlered moose. Name this moose.
Bullwinkle.
Yes, that's right. Put it over and let's shuffle them around again and keep this good game going. $700 in the pot, Tom.
Wink, I'm going to have to go with Men of Ideas for the block.
All right, for a block. Answer this on Men of Ideas. During the late 1950s, American scientists invented a device which produced a thin beam of light that was so intense it could burn through a diamond. To block Gordon, name the device.
Laser.
Yes, that's right, a laser beam. Good for a block if we put an X there. Let's shuffle, adding $200 to the pot. Gordon?
Well, let's see. Let's go with Maps of Nations.
Maps of Nations. Gordon, take a look at this map of Africa. The colorful cities of Rabat, Casablanca, and Marrakesh are located in this country. Name it.
Morocco.
Yes, that's right. Morocco, good for another O on the board, another $200 in the pot. We'll be back to continue the game right after we take a break.
Like Lucy and Ricky or Sonny and Cher.
Say what?
GSN Live's Fred and Heidi make the perfect pair with games and prizes and lots of surprises.
Congratulations!
My wife is gonna freak. GSN Live today, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
Had to leave that in because I'm going to play a clip of me a couple times winning prizes on that GSN Live.
That's almost the whole show.
Yeah, I played the first segment in that clip. But Tom McKee, that guy you saw there, some history on him really quickly because he is very notable.
I think he could have. Let me play this. I think
You're hearing Al Hardee on the music of your life.
That's Wink.
Perfect.
Here we go.
You're hearing Al Hardee on the music of your life.
Keep that on the ready. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Play it again. What the hell?
You're hearing Al Hardee on the music of your life.
That's sweet.
The winker.
That contestant, Tom McKee, the naval officer, he was born in 1955. He retired from the U.S. Navy. And he was a 1977 graduate of the United States Naval Academy. Now, in Tic-Tac Dough, he won $312,700, which is the equivalent
That's a lot of money back then.
Right. That's in 1980. So that's the equivalent of about $1,193,337 in today's money. And that includes cash and prizes. He spent 46 days on the show, which consisted of 2 seasons of the show, the syndicated Tic-Tac Dough. He played a total of 89 games, defeating 43 opponents, the remaining games other than his being drawn. And he answered 353 questions correctly. His total prizes included 8 cars, because the winners of Tic-Tac Dough were awarded a new car every 5th win in the bonus round. And
don't they have a cutoff for these winners? I mean,
No.
you can only win so much.
Well, the Press Your Luck, quote unquote, scandal. I still want to see that movie. It's probably out of theaters by now, about the guy who memorized the pattern of Press Your Luck.
Yeah, it was
Larson.
in the theaters for a very short time. It'll be streaming, I'm sure.
Yeah, I want to see that. But he actually, because of him, then they did set a lot of caps in terms of the winnings. But I like game shows where you can go on and on. I wish Wheel of Fortune had, like Jeopardy,
With
a
Jeopardy,
champion.
you can just go on and on.
I wish that's the way Wheel used to be. Wheel of Fortune used to have a champion. But anyway, he won 8 cars. He won 3 sailboats, 16 vacations, which he was unable to take because he was in the Navy, and several other smaller prizes, and $200,000 in cash, 1980 money. And prior to McKee's record, the most ever won on a game show was the Joker's Wild contestant, Eileen Jason, who won $305,280, $250,000 of which was won during the 1979 Tournament of
You gotta
Champions.
think about all the taxes he had to pay.
Yep. But Tom McKee on Tic-Tac Dough was defeated on August 3rd, 1980 by Eric Krapelin to end the winning streak. And 3 years after the original run on Tic-Tac Dough, McKee made one more appearance on the show, this time to compete in a Tournament of Champions. And then last thing about Tom McKee, the wins and consecutive days records were broken by contestant Ian Ligo in 1998, while the winnings record was broken by Michael Shutterly during the original 15-night run of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in 1999, where he won $500,000. McKee still holds the American game show record for most consecutive games played. 100 games, 56 wins, due to the nature of Tic-Tac Dough making ties possible and frequent. However, Jeopardy contestant, as I said, Ken Jennings, who himself set a new cash winnings record, beat the wins record with 74 and most consecutive days with 75 consecutive days in the 2004 to 2005 TV season of Jeopardy.
You like Ken Jennings as a host?
Yeah, he's all right. I had issues with him in the beginning, but I like him. I liked Mayim okay until she opened her big mouth and said things were stupid during the strike.
Somebody said he was Mormon. He was a Mormon.
Yeah, she didn't irritate me about politics. You could. I don't care what your political beliefs are. I'll still support you. I can differentiate that. But Mayim was bashing Jeopardy for producing new shows during the writer's strike. It's like these are questions.
That wasn't part of the strike. The game show.
I know, because she's emboldened to certain rules that game shows are not. You know, as an actress, she's an actress, right? And a very intelligent, smart person. Anyway, but I just thought that was silly. She was actually bashing Jeopardy. It's like, no wonder they didn't bring her back. You know,
I got tired of her on for a while, then Ken Jennings, and she's back. Just have one person do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Ken Jennings was the logical choice to take over.
Wow. But Tom McKee still alive, and in the 1990s he became president of Hicks and Rotner Associates, now H&R Retail, which is a brokerage firm. He later moved to Maryland State and became a realtor. Okay. So I thought he was historically.
How old is he now?
He was born in 1955.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's easy math. 55 to 65, 65 to 75. He's 70, right? 55 to 65, 65 to 75, 75, 85, 95 to 05, 05, 15, 15 to 25. He's 70.
Wow.
To your question. But yeah, I think Tic-Tac Dough in the original format was smart, where you had questions that were harder that got you more money, the $500 versus what, $300 for the easies.
Right.
Tic-Tac Dough had a mix. I mean, some of those questions were so easy, like the Rocky and Bullwinkle question we just saw in the clip. But some were harder. Like, I don't know if I could pick out Morocco on a map.
Well, you know, speaking of hard questions, I don't see how people can answer, give out the question in Jeopardy. It's just, it's difficult. You got to be pretty smart to be on Jeopardy.
And they'll penalize you if you don't phrase your answer in the form of a question. You know, sometimes they're strict. You notice that some seasons are strict, some they're not strict about that.
Well, some they do, but they'll say a question, then they'll do it. What is?
Yeah.
Yep. But not trying to get away, but on Jeopardy, how do they come up with these categories? I guess they have a staff of writers that research stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, some questions are ageless, right? And Jeopardy started in 1984. And how about this? Johnny Gilbert is still announcing, and he's approaching 100 years of age. He's almost 100 years old. That's awesome. That's got to be a record in terms of because Price is Right changed over. Of course, my favorite game show announcer was Johnny Olson. Match Game, Price is Right. He passed away in the summer of 1985. Right?
Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
Oh, Mark Goodson. Now, no one could say a new car. I can't do it. That's annoying as hell. But no one said a new car better than Johnny Olson. Do you agree?
Well, that's true. Like they say from the Alex, didn't Jeopardy move away from Sony Pictures? Didn't they have to relocate?
No, they're still owned by Sony. Owns Jeopardy.
I thought they were at Studio City. Didn't they move when they sold the building?
Price is Right moved recently.
Oh, the Price is Right. Oh, okay.
The Price is Right changed studios after many years. The Bob Barker studios were retired.
Oh, okay.
But no, they have a nice little lot. I'd like to visit it someday. It's Sony Pictures there, and of course Merv Griffin.
It's the same place they do Wheel, right?
Yeah, Merv Griffin, right. That's my understanding. Merv Griffin, of course, created both shows, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, and Merv Griffin Enterprises under King World syndicated them when they began in syndication. Remember that?
Merv Griffin said one time about Jeopardy, he said him and his wife were going somewhere, and she said, Why don't you do a game show where you give the answer and they have to give the question? It was sort of his wife's idea, from what I understand.
Yeah, and I think he came up with the theme. It netted him well over $1 million in royalties. The Think theme.
Yeah, David Letterman
Final
used to
Jeopardy.
use that. Yeah,
yeah, it's a part of pop culture lore. I mean, it's way up there in pop culture lore.
I like on Jeopardy too when they're writing down for the final Jeopardy how the backdrop goes red.
Oh, I know.
It's just like really intense, and then it goes back to blue afterwards.
Would you like to take a guess of how many Tic-Tac Dough episodes were made for syndication between 1978 and 1986?
200.
Higher.
3.
Higher.
5.
Higher.
1,000.
Higher.
1,500.
Close. Higher.
2,000.
Lower.
1,800.
Lower.
1,700.
Lower.
16.
Lower.
15.
Higher.
1,550.
Higher. You're close.
1,580.
Lower.
1,560.
Bingo!
Why you down to get
1,560. 1,560. That's a lot of Tic-Tac-Dough episodes from 1978 to 1986.
You think they still have copies of all those shows?
Oh yeah, those were not erased. Sony owns those.
Well, I just wonder if they digitize these, because they were done on tape, usually 2-inch tape. I just wonder if they still have those digitized or what.
Yeah, they have to. You just hit it right on the head, because that's what Buzzer Network is doing. They're in the process of digitizing the Goodson-Todman library of game shows. That's why you see a lot of repeats on Buzzer, but they're getting better about that because they have a team of people that are digitally converting the videotape.
Well, right. the early Johnny Carson shows were erased because they reused the tape.
Yeah. And Hollywood Squares episodes were erased. So many great shows were erased. It's too bad they didn't have a backup, like a kinescope. There are some kinescopes you can find, believe it or not, of the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
I don't know why one of the networks they don't run reruns of Hollywood Squares.
That has been a perplexing notion for a long time, and people say that Amazon owns it. MGM. In my research, the Hollywood Squares, the classic Hollywood Squares with your buddy Peter Marshall, late great Peter Marshall, hosting. It was owned by MGM, and of course, I think that part of the MGM library was absorbed by Amazon.
NBC production.
I know, but that doesn't always matter. Like, there's a soap opera, a new soap opera on CBS called Beyond the Gates, I think it's called. It's filmed at Assembly Studios, and that's NBC, but it's on CBS. You know what I mean? I mean, there's leasing deals, just like Sony is GSN is leasing episodes of Tic-Tac Dough for tomorrow's Easter 2025 marathon of Tic-Tac Dough in honor of Wink Martindale from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So they're going to air 8 episodes that they had to digitize, like you were just talking about, to air tomorrow, and they leased those from Sony as they did in 2008. So, but they had a deal with the Goodson-Todman library that's owned by Fremantle Media. Fremantle Media, they're out of England.
Huh?
Yeah,
and that logo. Yeah,
and they're also behind American Idol. This is American Idol. Now,
I don't. That show's been on way too long.
About Tic-Tac Dough, I told you it was on CBS for just 2 months. There were only 45 CBS episodes before it was a 5-night-a-week syndicated show between 78 and 86. And in 1990, they brought back Tic-Tac Dough. It only lasted 65 episodes in 1990. Would you like to see the bonus round?
How long is it?
It's not long. It's just the bonus round game where you try to avoid the dragon.
It's not 30 minutes, is it?
I'm going to watch the new Tic-Tac Dough. I love Brooke, the host. Hang on, let me... I'll show you a promo of that in just a second, but let me play the bonus round of Tic-Tac Dough, and then we'll listen to Wink talking about hosting Tic-Tac Dough. Here is where you don't want to see this. In the bonus round. Let's watch.
Correctly, Tom, you'll win $3,200 in cash.
When added to your prior winnings, that brings your grand total to $109,150. Tom, here's your question on chemistry. This basic group of chemical compounds is represented by a common household variety known as sodium chloride and a medicinal type called Epsom. For Tic-Tac Dough and $109,150 in cash and prizes, name this chemical group.
The salts.
You win. Right. Once again, on the big board, we have a diagonal Tic-Tac Dough, and it comes under the heading of Tom McKee as winner once again. $3,200 for that correct answer, and that combination of X's up there. That takes your total of $109,150 in cash and merchandise, Tom, with another shot at the Dragon, along with Ginny in just a moment. Gordon Ting, I got to admit to you that you make a very interesting player on our show, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed seeing you around here, did you?
Oh, yes, I did, and I think he's a real great character.
That's exactly what his wife calls him all the time. You're really a character, Tom.
I like him a lot.
Gordon, you won $250 for the one-tie game. Thanks for being with us, and continued success in your dentistry practice.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, if you'll join me over here, we'll get some help with Ginny and try the Dragon. Your wife has probably called you a character from time to time, hasn't she?
She called me a lot of things.
Some things you'll forget. Behind the numbers are various amounts of money and a dragon. All you have to do, you've hit the Dragon twice in a row?
That's a bad record.
All right, all you have to do is reach $1,000 or more without finding him, and you win a prize package. Now, in terms of this prize package, we're going to give you some gifts to help you throw a party. Interested in that?
Yeah, I can take that.
All right, let's find out what Bob Hilton has for us. Bob?
Well, first, Tom, we'll provide the music for your party with this fun-filled disco jukebox. The Cape Heart Disco model, deluxe AM/FM Recorder-Magic 3-speed automatic record changer with 8-track and cassette recorder player. 11 ways to record your favorite program from Cape Heart. And to serve liquid refreshments, it's this elegant silver-plated punch bowl. This elegant 15-piece punch bowl set and luxurious silver plate from the designer collection of fine silver from the Michael C. Fina Company, New York City. And your guests will enjoy the snacks that you serve so elegantly with these handsome serving accessories. Robert Weiss Originals, an array of ceramic KitchenAids, including the wine cooler, the butter keep, and soup and cracker server. Gourmet accessories designed to shorten your time in the kitchen from Robert Weiss Ceramics. And Tom, I guarantee you'll be the life of the party when you treat your guests to live entertainment as you play your magnificent new $1,300 piano. This superbly designed Wurlitzer custom spinet piano combines the warm golden glow of Mediterranean oak with matchless tone and performance, a bright contribution to the special warmth of your home furnished by Wurlitzer. This party package is worth, in cash and prizes, over $3,800.
Of the prizes that he just described, which one best relates to the last game you played on Tic-Tac Dough? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I have to say that's the 88 keys on the piano.
Yeah. Now, this one does have 88 keys, not 25.
I'm going to count them when I get the thing. I'll tell
Okay. You avoid the Dragon or you lose everything. Get the tick and the tack and you automatically get the dough. Let's cover them up, move them all around on the board, say bye to the Dragon. He's got you twice, 2 in a row. Jenny, now you started with 1 the last 2 times. I'm not going to put any words in your mouth, any numbers in your thoughts. What's it going to be? She going to go with it again? 3 times in a row.
What Casey at the bat said.
Right. What's behind 1? $150. All right, you were right, Jenny. So you got 150. Stop anytime you want. Number 3. All right, over here on the right top corner, number 3. Is it money? Yeah. You got 450. You need $550 more.
Number 4.
Number 4, under the 150, next to the 5. Behind 4, 400. You got $850. You need 150 more bucks. You got the 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left. Number 7, all righty. You need $150 to win it all. What's behind number 7? Tag. Add it to the tick or get $150. You got to win for that beautiful piano and those other prizes.
We'll go with number 5.
Number 5 in the center, $150 a tick. We'll give it all to you. What's behind number 5? Mr. Computer, what do you have for him? Come on. There it is. You're a winner. Did your mom play?
for our church back home in New York. So.
His mother plays the organ for the church back home, so obviously she can handle the piano beautifully.
She'll have to supply the music for the parties, I guess.
Now, there's one little rule, by the way, that goes along with the piano. You got to promise that you'll at least make an effort to learn how to play it.
I'll try.
How about Jenny? Does she play? She didn't play either? Partly.
Heart and soul, she says. The only thing she
Heart
can
and
play.
soul, hard, and so, yeah, that's the one-finger type. Let's look at the rest of the board. 2, 6, 8, or 9. Where was the dragon? It certainly was not behind 1. This time it was down there behind number 8. Before I total it all up for you, I want to remind you of something that perhaps in all of your winnings just might have slipped your mind. If you defeat the next opponent on Tic-Tac Dough, you will win not your first, because you've already won that, not your second, because you've already won that, but you will win your 3rd new car if you defeat the next opponent. Right now, you have won a total in cash and merchandise, including that piano, $113,050 in cash and prizes. We got to pay a couple of bills, and then we'll meet a new opponent. We'll be right back.
Dragon.
I love the game board with the money. It was early computer graphics. It was kind of cool looking.
Yes, it was cool. Hey, we have a little flag on the field about Fremantle Media. Our friend Tracy says that Fremantle Media, who owns the Goodson-Todman Library of Game Shows, among other things, is not based in England. They're out of Australia. So
Really?
she said Fremantle's from Australia. But is she right? Fremantle Media is actually headquartered in London, England. But look, Tracy says Fremantle was in Australia because somebody told me so. I don't know who told me so, so I guess I don't take their word for it. Well, I looked it up just to, I was doubting my reality. It was previously known as Pearson Television from 1993 to 2001 and Fremantle Media from 2001 to 2018. That's the year that American Idol hit the airwaves in 2001. Let's see. It's a British multinational television production and distribution company based in London. Okay, so
Well, how do they gain rights? How do they gain rights to this stuff?
money? They made a deal. They bought the whole library, lock, stock, and barrel.
Oh,
And that's a lot of that. Think about it. That's Bob Barker prices, right? Think about the match games. So many shows. I mean, I could go on. And plus the kinescopes they have to tell the truth. Those kinescopes, What's My Line? All that stuff. And I love that for Buzzer, which Fremantle owns. They own the network Buzzer, which you can watch on Pluto TV or on cable TV or over the air rabbit ears. They will play kinescopes and leave the commercials in.
Remember the game show You Bet Your Life?
Oh, yeah. Hey to Keebler. Keebler's joining us. Yes, and I will get to the Remind Magazine, remindmagazine.com in a little bit. But hey, let's listen to Wink talking about hosting. This isn't a long clip, Al, but I love watching and listening to Wink. Here he is talking about hosting Tic-Tac Dough. It's a 2-minute, 23-second clip.
Well, again, it was one of those shows that a lot of people auditioned for. And I was just blessed to be selected by Dan Enright and Jack Barry to be the host. It was a show that was to be piloted at CBS for CBS daytime, if the pilot came off right. And at the same time, it was sold as a syndicated series for that fall. So I remember early on, I remember going in every Saturday morning and almost every day during the week in the afternoon. But every Saturday morning, I would go in and rehearse with Dan Enright. He wanted me to be able to do the pilot perfectly without having to rely on cue cards. So I pretty much had that show memorized by doing it over and over and over again. So when we got ready to do the pilot, I was ready. We did a terrific pilot for CBS. It sold and went on the air and only lasted 13 weeks on CBS daytime. I remember it went off the air on the 4th of July of all days.
Wow.
And station managers from around the country were scared to death. They were flummoxed, to use an old expression, because many of them, because they had bought the show as a result of it being daytime on CBS, to go into syndication on their station that fall in prime time or in the access time periods.
Right.
So it goes off after 13 weeks, and a lot of these station managers and program directors were scared to death. But sure enough, the most amazing thing happened. It went on in syndication around the country in prime time, prime access time period, 7 to 8 o'clock at night, around the country in September. And when the first fall book came out, the ratings book came out, it went through the roof, and we never looked back.
Cool.
Never look back.
Never look back. Here's a quick 15-second promo from 1984.
Weekdays, it's Tic-Tac Dough. Join host Wink Martindale and his contestants as they answer challenging questions and play a strategic game of X's and O's called Tic-Tac Dough. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on CBN Cable.
Now,
so CBN was the Christian Broadcasting Network.
Right. Now, I want to show you this interesting audience bonus round. This was pretty rare. This is from a 1983 episode of Tic-Tac Dough. This is a brief clip. Check this out.
Right now, we want to go out into the audience and see if we can find the dragon. And for that, Charlie O'Donnell, we need 2 dragon finders. Will you point them out for me?
You bet, Wink. We're looking for Mervyn Green. And Sabrina Abraham. Here's your chance to be our dragon finders.
Come on over here. You don't have to step right over here. Here we go. Stand right there. Now, come on. I'm not going to bite. Just stand right up here real close. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Mervyn, what do you do?
Well, I've been to 30 Rose Bowl games. I'm
No, Mervyn, you don't understand the question, Mervyn. I'm going to ask you again.
Landscape work.
Landscape work. And on the side, you've been going to 30-some-odd Rose Bowl games,
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right, that's all I need to know. Sabrina, how are you? What do you do?
I go to school,
You go to
South
school?
Bay.
South
College.
Bay? All right, would you like to win some money, both of you? All right, I have some cash in my pocket, a lot of cash. Now, what I'm going to do, how many numbers are left up there, Mervyn?
4.
Very good. So far, so good. 4, 6, 8, and 9. The answer's here. What I'm going to do is ask you both to call out numbers. You call out a number. If you find the dragon behind the number, I'll give you $250. Every time we miss the dragon, we'll add another $50 to the pot. Okay? So you win a lot of money here in a hurry. You ready? All right, call out a number.
4.
No, you sure?
We'll make it 8.
No. Now, don't let me talk you out. I just said that. That was an ad lib. Number 4. Stick with number 4, all right? Because we have to take your first choice. Don't get me into trouble. What's behind 4? 500. So we add $50. We now have a dragon that's worth $300. Sabrina, of the 3 numbers left, 6, 8, and 9 for $300, where's the dragon?
6.
Number 6. If it's behind 6, you have $300. Is it behind number 6? Yes. Take that and put it on your head. Take that and put it on your head. You didn't win, but I'm going to give you $50 anyway because you're a good sport. And over here, there's 100, there's 200, and there's $300.
How about that? So you want to find the dragon. I set that up opposite.
Yeah.
You don't usually want to avoid the dragon.
I like
You want
look at the dragon, though. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I like the dragon. Yep.
And Wink said, the guy that lost is, I'll give you a $50. $50
for being a good sport. Yeah, 1983. That'd be a nice dinner, I guess, for 2 back then. But he liked hats. That was one of his things on Tic-Tac Dough, and viewers would mail hats to Wink.
Yeah.
And he had a really cool hat collection. Remember how on Family Feud, Richard Dawson, people would bring Richard like foods and things? You can't do that anymore. I'd be afraid it would be nasty or poison even, Lord forbid. You need a tester. Now, the new Tic-Tac Dough is on the Game Show Network. I'm going to play a 30-second preview. Hasn't been on since 1980. It's been off the air for 35 years, since 1990. Tic-Tac. Can you believe 1990 is 35 years ago?
I'm marching on.
All right, let's see what this looks like.
Game Show Network is bringing back a classic game show, and we could have renamed it anything. Tic-Tac Cash, Tic-Tac Dinero, Tic-Tac Moolah, but we stuck with Tic-Tac Dough. It's the same game, but with an amazing new look. Well done! And me. To make a Tic-Tac Dough, what did Peter Piper pick? A pack of pickled peppers. Well done, Amanda! You made a Tic-Tac Dough!
Tic-Tac Dough, weeknights at 7, starting Monday, April 14th on Game Show Network.
We can certainly tell the graphics were a lot better.
What?
The
Now or
graphics,
then?
the graphics were a lot better on the new show.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I like Brooke. She was on Baywatch, and she did a lot of other game show hosting. What's that guy with Mr. Big? It was a GSN original.
I don't know.
Oh, someone in chat knows, but she's on a show with this big British guy. I'll look it up during the next clip. Do you mind if I play me as a contestant, just as a phone-in contestant on GSN? Can I play that? It's just a 3-minute clip.
Go ahead.
You got time? Okay. Here's where I won some stuff.
Call or log on now for your chance to win a beautiful new appliance for your kitchen. Keep it here because more lingo is coming up on GSN. On air, online, play every day.
Back at GSN Live, it's time to play all over the map. You love that game.
I do, yes.
Why wouldn't you? Know your North Dakota from your West Virginia? Dust off your globe because we're about to put you to the test.
All right, well, let's welcome our first caller, Chance from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, Chance.
Hi, Fred.
Is this really you?
It is really me from the chat room. I've interacted with you many times, sir.
All right, now let me say, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Chance.
Chance is always on GSN.com. He is in the chat room. He emails the message boards.
Ah.
Chance, I beg of you, please get a life. Now let's continue, all right? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Come on.
All right, Chance, the first prize you're playing for is a Wheel of Fortune limited edition pendant. This collectible color replica of the 25th anniversary wheel comes in a velvet pouch and a commemorative tin. Now visit wheeloffortunejewelry.com today.
Come on, Chance, there is nobody I've rooted more to win for than you, and I'm dead
Thank you,
serious.
sir.
Come on. Home of the South Pole. What is the name of Earth's windiest and coldest continent?
That's got to be Antarctica.
That's a win, Chance. There you go. Great job. Great
Very
job.
good. Are you excited
All right.
about the pendant?
That's great. I'm going to give it to my fiance.
Beautiful.
The fiance.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, that was so much fun, Chance. We are going to give you another chance to win. This time, you are playing for a cool new refrigerator from the GSN Live collection. It's got stylish side-by-side doors and an external water dispenser. Your kitchen, Chance, is going to look like $1 million.
The good news, Chance, this refrigerator does have doors. All right. Here we go. Interstate 70 runs directly through what mile-high capital city of Colorado? You better get this.
Oh, gosh.
Mile High City in Colorado, Chance.
Oh, that's got to be Denver.
All right, you know what?
I got a little nervous, Fred.
You know what, Chance? Don't think I didn't hear you Googling that.
I knew it. I just had a brain freeze.
Are you kidding me? Well, you won
Fred,
anyway.
I got to say, I saw your sportscast for the first time on the early Today Show, and you were great. But the lady anchor chastised you for mispronouncing a high school team.
Did I? You know what?
Apparently, that's what she said. She said Fred messed up that team there, mispronounced it. She was kidding, though, chastising it.
You saw that. I didn't. At least you watched it.
Right, because obviously you recorded ahead of time, but enough said.
All right, Chance.
All right, well, just for playing...
Thanks a lot, Chance, you Google cheater.
You're going to be getting the ultimate family party pack from gsn.com/show. You'll have a blast with America's #1 party game, Quelf, and its crazy cousin, Flapadoodle.
All right, Chance, we'll see you online, okay? Be good. On air, online, play every day right here on GSN. Hang on for more lingo. Next hour, we have the trip. Here. Give those a chance.
There you
All right,
go.
what was the Mile High City?
Denver.
But I thought you got it wrong.
No, I got it right. I got confused with Mork and Mindy. Okay, there's a show, a spinoff of Happy Days, and it always showed "Welcome to Boulder, Colorado." At that moment, I thought, "Is Boulder?"
I couldn't hear all of it.
Oh, Well, the audio was a little low, but at that moment, I'm like, is it Boulder? And I did Google cheat. I must admit. So
what year was
that?
that?
I won. What?
What year was that?
That was November 4th, 2008. And I sold that refrigerator for $1,000 on Craigslist. A nice person showed up at the house, picked it up. It was brand new. And I still have the pendant. It's right here. Wheel of Fortune. Oh, let me take off the background so you can see it better. Let's see how would I do that there. Here's how I do it. Bye-bye set. There we go. Wheel of Fortune 25th anniversary pendant. Look, it comes in this nice little bag. And there it is. It's my good luck charm. I auditioned to be on Wheel, and they tried to call me a few times. I'm hoping to get on there again. You can audition once a year. I'd love to be a contestant
over here. I think you brought that over here.
Yeah, isn't it neat?
Yeah.
It's cool. So
it's cool.
There's that. And I want to talk to you about some movies in a second. I know you got to run probably soon. I've kept you longer. I wanted to keep this to 90 minutes, and we've gone 2 hours, so I don't want to ruin your Saturday or take up much of your time. But there's a movie called Sinners out. I'll talk to you or would like to ask you about, and I'll show you a quick movie review from our man in the seats.
Well, that's a movie that everybody seems to be raving about.
Yeah, and he also reviewed for me Drop, a movie called Drop.
I'd like to see.
Yeah. Before I do that, sticking to game shows, and we'll wrap on the topic of Wink, and then we'll get to movie talk. I did return to GSN Live and win something else. I've never shared this before. And also you'll see a cameo by a television star of a show called Room 222. Her name's Karen Valentine. And she visited the set of GSN Live. This is from February 12th, 2009.
All right, we're back to wrap it up today. GSN Live, Fred Rogan and Heidi Bohe. Our last game of the day is called Book Smarts.
Let's say hi to our caller. It's Chance from Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Chance.
Hi, Heidi. Hi, Fred. Hello, Chance. How are you?
What are you laughing at?
Chance, can I ask you something? For people that don't know, Chance is really one of our dedicated
He's a regular.
GSN Live fans. And I really got to ask you something, Chance. May I?
Go ahead.
Do you have a job? Or do you just watch GSN Live?
I run my own business right now, and it gives me the opportunity to watch you guys and play every day like you tell me to do.
Good for you.
That's
We love
the
to
way
hear
we
that.
like it.
That's
All right.
right.
You know what? This is good. There are no questions and answers today, so you can't Google the answer.
All right. Well, I'll have to use my own mind then.
All right. Now, with Book Smarts, we're not even going to ask you a question. Come on. Take a look at this, Chance.
All right.
We got 3 giant pop-up books, and inside each one of them is a prize, a Sony camcorder. One is a trip to Jamaica, and the third is a dictionary. So you have book 1, the always exciting Baking with Bohe, book 2, History of Winning, and book 3, soon to be a bestseller, Roganomics.
Oh.
Chance, choose a book. Here we go.
All right. Let's try number 3.
All right, you chose number 3. Let's show them what's behind number 1.
I want you to say, it's the trip, it's the trip.
Well, wait,
Do
we're
ya?
going to show you what's behind number 1 first. You ready?
Okie dokie.
All right, behind number 1 is the Sony camcorder, Chance. That's a great prize.
That is a good prize.
Could you use a
That's
new
something I want.
camcorder?
I could use one. Yes, ma'am. Mine broke.
All right, perfect. Well, guess what? We're going to give this to you right now. You can have this camcorder. Or you can go on, Chance. You can go on. The trip is still out there, as is the dictionary. Now, you selected number 3. Do you want to just take the camcorder and call it a day? Do you want to stick with number 3? Or do you want to switch to number 2? You decide.
I think I'm going to stick with the camcorder.
You're going to stick
I'm
with
going to
the
play it safe.
You're going
All
to
right, you're
stick with the
playing safe?
camcorder.
Okay.
All right, well, let's see what it is.
All right, ready?
I'm
Go
ready.
ahead.
Ready? Sony Mini DV Handy Camcorder delivers high-quality video and powerful digital zoom lens and image stabilization available at your local Sony style store.
But of course, you picked number 3, right?
Yes, sir.
If you'd stuck with number 3, look what you passed up, Chance. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me,
sorry.
Chance. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. It was the dictionary. The trip?
So you know where the trip is now, right?
Was behind number two.
But you know what? You have a great camcorder, all right?
I love it. That's something I've been waiting to win. That and the
Well,
laptop.
there you go. You
So
won
in
it. We have
30
another
days,
question.
I'll be back.
Chance,
All right.
we have another question for you, okay? It's from Battle of the Sexes. It's our board game. Perfect for Valentine's Day.
All right,
All
Chance. No, Chance,
Ready?
I'm correct in assuming you are a man, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, good.
I'm a red-blooded, all-American male.
Here's a question that you should know about women. What is a credenza?
A credenza. Isn't that something that a woman puts her makeup on and gets ready? Does her makeup like a dresser or something?
Close enough.
Close enough.
A sideboard or a narrow buffet table.
Yeah, for plates and that kind of thing. But
So-
you know,
I
we're
was
going to give it to
way
you
wrong.
anyway.
We're going to send you one, all
well,
right?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Chance. Appreciate
Chance.
you watching.
Have a great
Folks, we
day.
appreciate you watching as well. Back tomorrow with more. Here's more Family Feud on GSN. We continue on from the epicenter of the game show universe. It's Fred Rogan and Karen Valentine on GSN Live.
And it's time to give a shout out to some big-time GSN Live winners.
Love this.
Viewers like you who called or logged on, played on the air, and snagged some terrific prizes.
That being said, here we go. The GSN Live Winners Gallery. Congratulations to Sherry Smith from Richland Hills, Texas. She won a Black & Decker oven and a Sony camcorder, so now she can preserve the exciting memories of cooking pot roast for generations to come.
Also a big winner, Chance Bartels from Atlanta, Georgia, who won a Wheel of Fortune pendant and a $1,500 refrigerator.
And you know something, Chance? Don't think I didn't realize you were a Google cheater.
Oh.
And not to be left out, how about Donald Dry of Florence, Mississippi? Won a Sony Walkman video MP3 player and has been hounded by the paparazzi ever since.
And now it's your turn. The time is now. The prizes are big, and this hour's game is just around the corner.
Get in the game. Call or log on. We've got a notebook computer. It can be yours. Be a winner. We're waiting for you on GSN Live.
11 o'clock is almost here. Flash those studio lights.
How about that?
You still have the camcorder?
I do, and what an idiot, because just a few months later, the iPhone 1 would be out, or, you know, iPhone was just starting to take hold.
You know, I have a Sony camcorder. Of course, I bought mine, but, you know, it still works, but I just don't ever use it.
I would have
You-
lost, though.
you're
I would have
from-
gotten a dictionary if I stuck with number 3. I would have lost anyway, so.
Yeah.
But I still have it, and it still works. I like it at the time. And I said mine broke. It sounded like I said, I'm broke. He goes, could you use a camcorder, Chance? And I said, yeah, mine broke. But it sounds like I said, yeah, I'm broke.
I thought you
Anyway.
said I'm broke.
No, I said mine broke.
No.
My camcorder broke, which it did at the time, but it's fixed. It was a battery pack. The
Yeah,
one
yeah.
I've showed many times, the 1987 JVC, it looks like the one that Marty McFly had in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So let's I'll after I release you, sir, I'm kidding. Well, I'll conclude about Wink. Wink sadly passed away on April 15th, 2025. And we'll always remember him. He was 91 years of age, and just what a great career. And I'm glad that GSN will be playing classic Tic-Tac Dough tomorrow at 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. on their cable network. So let's talk about Sinners. Have you seen Sinners yet, the movie?
No. I'll go see it. People are raving about it.
Perfect timing, right, for Holy Week and Easter, Passover. Let's look at JT's 1 minute, 54-second review of Sinners. I was hoping you'd seen it so you could either agree or disagree, but here we go. Here's JT, the man in the seats.
Oh, this is movie reviews by JT, and I got another review for you. Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, and it stars Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. This movie was a blast. Crazy, a lot of violence. The best vampire movie I ever seen. It is so good. The score, I like the score and everything. Had a fun time watching this movie today in the theater and everything. Ryan Coogler does a phenomenal job directing this film. Masterpiece, everything. I enjoyed this film a lot. The performances by Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld was so good and everything. And yeah, all the vampires in the movie and everything was great and everything and stuff. It was a fun time watching this in the movie theater today, and I can't wait to rewatch this film again when it comes to streaming and Blu-ray and DVD very soon. And everything is one of my favorite films this year already. Sinners And yeah, there's also a big credit scene and a post-credit scene at the end. Definitely stay for that and everything and stuff. And yeah, I give Sinners an A+ score. Definitely go see this movie in theaters this weekend and everything. It is great. You're gonna have a blast watching this film, Sinners, and everything. And so people was praising this movie, early screenings and everything. Everybody was talking about this film. Everybody enjoyed it, and I enjoyed this film a lot and everything. So that's my review for Sinners. All right, bye.
Thanks, JT. The popcorn's on the way. I love Michael B. Jordan. He is a great actor. I liked him as Eric Killmonger, of course, in Black Panther.
That guy that reviews me, he's kind of funny in a way, you know.
Yeah, I know. I like him.
You know, he's just raw, and I mean, you know, there's nothing fancy about the guy. He just likes movies and he likes talking about them.
Yeah, he's obviously in the club that gets you he's in
the A-list
screenings. He's going to the screeners. I used to do that too. I need to get back into that where you get like a free pass and you see the movie weeks before the public.
Before you let me go, I want to tell you about a movie I watched, and I got the Blu-ray. I'll be right back. I want to show it to you.
Okay. Well, I'll put his review of Drop on while you're getting that then. How about that?
Get that. And
what was the vampire movie we saw on the ship? I like that one. I almost said The Last Vermeer, but that was a different.
Voyage of the Demeter.
That's it. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. That was pretty cool too. Talking about vampires, and I like Morbius. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it.
Morbius was with I like Morbius. I've got the DVD, but
the Marvel villain from the Spider-Man, first introduced in Amazing Spider-Man issue 100 in 1971. Go ahead, sir.
I thought you were going to play the clip.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you had something to say about The Last Voyage of the Demeter or whatever.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, this is Movie Reviews by JT, and I got another review for you. Drop, directed by Christopher Landon, and it stars Megan Fahey. This thriller film was good, crazy. It keep you guessing the entire whole time. I really enjoyed this film last night in the theater and everything. And yeah, it's well paced, well written, well directed. One of my favorite films this year already so far. And I can't wait to rewatch it again when it comes to streaming very soon and everything. And yeah, just keep you guessing throughout the whole movie and everything with the main character and everything. And Megan Fahey performing is solid and everything. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film a lot and everything. And yeah. And Christopher Landon's directing is perfect and everything and stuff. His films, Happy Death Day, Freaky, these now Drop, all been good films that he directed and I enjoyed and everything. And yeah. And so I really enjoyed this film. I give Drop a 9 out of 8. Definitely go see this movie in theaters this weekend and everything. So that's my review for Drop. All right, bye.
A 9 out of 8. That's a new one.
And he always says that's a 9 out of 8.
9 out of 8. So he really liked it.
But he really did. He really liked it. No, he's okay. I've seen his stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the word cooties?
Of course.
You know, like in school, you call little girls cooties.
You have cooties out, Hardee. I know. I'm joking. Go ahead.
Well, there was a movie that came out, and I've got the Blu-ray. Look at this. Cooties.
Oh, wow. Let me make you big on that so we can see the cover of Cooties. Hold that up again, sir. Cooties, okay. Ew, you've got cooties. I remember that from 5th grade.
This is a wild movie. It's got Elijah Wood. You know, he was in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And it's got a guy that was in The Office. And this is one of the most fun movies I think I've ever watched. What it's about, these people you see here on the front are school teachers. They're misfits, really. I mean, and so Elijah Wood is a substitute teacher one day in school. And so he goes into the teacher's lounge and they're all sitting around. And it's an elementary school. I guess the kids are probably 10, 12, 13 years old. And they're all sitting around and, you know, they're all a bunch of misfits. They're all crazy, but they're school teachers. And this guy right here, his name is Rainey Wilson. He's from Atlanta, actually, this guy right there. But anyway, they're at recess one day and they see all the kids out there fighting and biting one another and like, you know, just biting and biting their arms and their legs and their necks and everything. And the teachers are up, they don't know what's going on. They look out there and say, what's going on? Well, the premise of the movie is in the beginning, all the kids were infected with a virus from chicken nuggets.
Damn.
This guy, he infects chicken nuggets in this, you know, all the schools serve kids chicken nuggets. You buy them at McDonald's and everything. And they become infested and they become little zombie savages. And so they start attacking everybody and they run into the school and start attacking the teachers. And the teachers have to lock themselves away. And
are they fast or slow? Are they fast or slow when they're infected? Can they run fast?
Oh, yeah. They could run fast. And what happens is they bully this one girl in school in the beginning. And one of the guys says, you're just effing ugly, you know, and the other guy just, you know, and he grabs her hair and he pulls the hair because she's sitting in front of him in school. And he pulls her hair and it comes off and all this blood comes out. And she turns around and she's got these evil looking eyes and fangs. She goes, and she just bites into him. And then they take him to the infirmary because they didn't know what was going on. And so, and later on, he becomes a little zombie. I mean, when you get bit, but it only affects before you get to puberty. It doesn't affect the adults, but the kids, you know, haven't reached puberty. So this virus only affects the kids with puberty, but they attack and try to kill the teachers. It's funny as crap.
Oh.
And it's
all horror. Is it like an 80s movie where there's a blend of comedy and horror? Yeah. Interesting. It sounds like Star Trek Miri, the original series, when they, you know, it's a death sentence when the children enter puberty.
It's a slip cover. There it is right there.
Now, when was that movie released? Did you say? Forgive me if you did and I didn't hear it.
It came out in 2017. I think it was 2015.
And who's this 10 years old? Who's the star?
Elijah Wood's the main star.
Oh, yeah, of course. You said that. Sorry,
This guy right here, he was kind of that guy right there. He was on the TV series The Office. But it's just a great movie. It's a comedy, but yet it's violent. You know what I'm saying?
Never heard of it. I want to check it out. You have to make some popcorn, invite me over. We'll watch it.
Oh, you'll love it. And there's a scene in it where, you know, Elijah Wood played in The Hobbit and he was in Lord of the Rings, you know.
And a good horror movie with go ahead.
This guy right here, he says, he's talking to Elijah Wood. He says, ew, you look like a little hobbit. Making a reference to the movie he was in. And Elijah Wood goes, you know, why would you say that? But he was in the movie The Hobbit, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a great movie. It's just I saw it on Amazon Prime. They have it if you have Amazon Prime, but
I do.
I liked it so much that I bought the Blu-ray. It wasn't expensive. It was like $8, but it's a great movie.
Might watch it tonight. Hey, I've got something I know you can relate to.
What's that?
This is my fake rant of the week, but it's a real rant, and I got to do my little intro music.
You want to fight? I'll give you a fight.
Okay, I am really fired up about this one.
What?
Facebook is deleting lives after 30 days. And they're going hardcore with it. They said they wouldn't start it till June, but I get a notice they're going to permanently delete. Now, some are like the Brain Benders Banter Saturday Night Stream. I don't care if those get deleted because most of those aren't any good anyway. But they're going to start deleting some of my stuff and stuff we did. when we were on the show together full time, you, me, and Tom Williams too. And that, but I haven't been on a flash drive.
How many times do people go back and look at that stuff?
Well, some stuff I interviewed, like I got interviews with actors in The Fall Guy, Heather Thomas, Kenneth Johnson. I mean, the good thing is it's on YouTube forever.
On YouTube,
nothing's ever forever. You get 3 strikes and you're out permanently, but the strikes fall off after 3 months. But that's a YouTube thing.
The only thing you can do is build your own website and post the stuff on your own website.
I have everything on a flash drive, but it's just that is so stupid that they're doing that. But I don't think they're going to do it with videos, only live streams.
No,
and
I stream this show to Facebook. Live shows. Well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it when you couldn't go live on group pages.
Oh, I know. So they've been phasing out lives. Facebook has, and I think that
you can't do live on groups. You can post it from another site, I suppose.
I get a lot of replay value on Facebook, but I don't make
go
money.
live.
I make money.
You can't go live on a group page.
Yeah, I get paid off of YouTube, but not Facebook. Now there's another gripe about Facebook. You can monetize a page, but not a group. And my group would be gangbusters if I could. I think that's a policy change on Facebook.
How do you monetize a page?
You have to have a minimum 100 followers. Just like anything else, there's instructions. You just have to apply for a partnership, and they'll put ads in your stuff. But I don't like ads one thing I won't do on YouTube, I don't like ads that follow people, and I don't like memberships. That's just me. I think it's rude to charge someone $2-3 a month for exclusive content. That's just me. And that's not a dig on anybody that does that. I'm partnered with a lot of people that do that, and that's fine, personal choice. I just won't do that.
They have a YouTube page, but then they have a page where you can give them money for extra content. Right.
I know. Oh, and Tracy clarified that Fremantle bought an Australian media company, Grundy TV. So yeah, that's where that came through. She was saying that Fremantle was an Australian when it's British, but that's cool. No worries. But yeah, it is terrible that Facebook has done that. So I hate that, because actually I got thousands of views on Facebook Live, within the first week or so, on average.
Well,
whatever.
I have to admit, you're pretty steady with going live a lot. I mean, I'm not. I'm hit and miss, but you go live pretty much every week.
But the problem though is, like, usually I'm on Friday night, and so people will ask, "Are you going live tonight?" I've been working these background gigs and stunt work and other things, and sometimes I'm on set on Friday. So you got to be consistent, like anything else. Like if I were like BK, he's on 10 a.m. to noon every Saturday, no matter what, unless he's on vacation or something. So, I'm trying to be more disciplined. So anyone that wants to watch the show and watch us or watch my guest will know when to find it when it's live. Anyway, enough said. So,
well, I want to do a show on Gene Hackman. I haven't done one yet, but I've got all the material loaded because he was one of my favorite actors, and he passed away, of course, in February. But I've got a lot of material on Gene Hackman.
Well, when are you going to do it? It's just a matter. I know you had a plumbing issue. You had to fix some pipes or something, which you successfully did.
I got a lot of Hackman movies. I got Crimson Tide.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Poseidon Adventure.
That's a great one. How many lives are you going to take?
Lucky Lady.
Never seen it.
That's a great movie.
It looks like The Sting to me.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
I seen that. Great quirky movie.
That's a Wes Anderson movie. He's weird, but I like him, And another good one he did. Hang on. Mississippi Burning.
Oh God, he was terrible in that. I mean, yeah. I mean,
no, it was good, And Willem Dafoe, he wasn't. He thought that Gene Hackman was a little rough on the townspeople.
Yeah.
You know what it's about, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah.
I saw it.
It's a great movie, but I've got I got a lot of material on Gene Hackman. You know what he said? The movie he's most proud of all the movies he's done.
The Conversation was a good one by Francis Ford Coppola, but French Connection's good.
But it was the first movie.
Not Superman.
It was the first movie that made him a star, a really big star.
Oh, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes, he said that was his all-time favorite movie that he's ever done. Of all the good movies he was in, that's the one that's his
right.
favorite.
That's right.
You know?
Oh, Tracy. This is silly.
What?
She said, I need to be more like you, Chance. I love her dry wit and sarcasm. Well, I know you were really bummed when Netflix terminated their DVD service, mail order.
God, it was terrible. It was terrible. I like that better than the streaming service, and I have the streaming service. But
you're a big proponent of physical media. You own what you want, right?
Netflix had DVDs and Blu-rays that you couldn't find anywhere. They had a.
Al, can I make a request? This is Holy Week. Okay, look, I'm not trying to be morbid here, but when the inevitable happens, if you are not cremated, you should be buried in a bunch of DVDs. In your coffin, just have all these DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks and maybe some film reels. That'd be unique.
Yeah, that's true. Well, when I worked at Kicks, we had a promotions guy named Andy Guzman, and Andy had passed away.
Not to be confused with the Grease band.
He worked at he ran promotions for the Kicks, and that's when Moby was the morning guy. And I went to Andy Guzman's funeral, you know, and at the time, Kicks and 106.7 were all owned by Disney, ABC Disney, and we were all in the same building. You know, you had Kicks on one side and 106.7 on the other side. And so, but Andy Guzman did promotions for both radio stations because we both were country at the time. And they buried him in his casket, and he had a Kicks T-shirt on, a Y106 cap, and a whole bunch of promotion memorabilia in the casket. That's how they buried him.
Oh, wow.
You know, I thought that was so cool. That's what he wanted. You know, his wife said that's what he had wanted if he dies. But that's what they did. He was buried with all the Kicks memorabilia. I remember Moby was really touched by him. He really liked him. Moby got really upset. But but yeah, you know, and some people, it's just like Bela Lugosi. He played Dracula, of course. He was buried in his Dracula costume.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have one final clip about Wink where he says what he wants to be known for and remembered for. I think this would be a great final clip of Wink. I saved it. It's only a minute long. Here's Wink Martindale talking about how he'd like to be remembered.
I'd like to be remembered as someone who loved what he did, set out to achieve a certain amount of success in that chosen profession. But most of all, someone who brought a lot of happiness to those who watched what I did. I would like to be remembered as a believer, a person who strongly believes in our Maker, and a person who has brought into the world some children that I can be proud of. And most especially, I'd like to be remembered by my wife as a good husband.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Thank you for the Television Academy for use of those interviews. And now I want to show some pictures of Wink really quickly that I had pulled. I don't think I showed all of them yet. Since this was there's my thumbnail image of Wink hosting Gambit and Tic-Tac Dough. I showed some of these, but in case anyone tuned in late, there's Wink. It's like an old-time radio photo. And there he is hosting What's This Song on NBC. Nice color shot. There's a classic shot, publicity shot from Tic-Tac Dough on CBS. There he is getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Didn't mention that yet. Look at that, Al. Can you see that?
Look at that.
Yep. So he's immortalized on Hollywood Boulevard.
Well,
and that's from 2006. I haven't been there since 2002. I looked at every single star by foot. I walked all around the Capitol Records building, Hollywood and Vine, went to all the shops, and I saw some great ones like of actors and talents and musicians that I love. But that's cool that Wink has one. I need to visit his store. What's that?
I've got a publicity photo from Music of Your Life. You want to see it?
Yeah. Look at that. He was a Southern man. Great personality. I love how he says, right, to the contestants when they got a question right on Tic-Tac-Dough.
Yeah, that was from Music of Your Life.
Very nice. And you have his autograph in the book that you showed earlier. Very cool. And then there's Sandy. I showed earlier. There's Sandy and Wink. Very beautiful lady. And then there's, I guess could that be Wink's? Well, that's not a home studio. That's a radio station.
That could be WHBQ. That's an old RCA looking console, I do believe. And back in those days, the turntables were big because they could play transcription disc in 45s and 33s.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then
Wink was a true talent, and he'll be missed. That's for sure.
He will definitely be missed. Another thing hit in terms of new movies, a new trailer for the Fantastic Four hit this week.
I saw that. I went to the movies last week and saw a trailer for that, and I saw another trailer for Thunderbolt.
The Silver Surfer looks interesting. In this universe, it's not our Earth. It's a female Silver Surfer, and I think she looks actually pretty cool. But they keep showing this Herbie robot. This is a robot created in 1978 for the Saturday morning cartoon, The Fantastic Four, because it was deemed that the Human Torch was going to cause kids to start fires to try to imitate him and would be a problem. So some genius at NBC said, nah, we can't have the Human Torch, Johnny Blaze, who's one of the original founding members. So they replaced him with Herbie the Robot. So I think I think the movie looks good, but I hope that Herbie the Robot doesn't become the Jar Jar Binks of the film.
I saw the trailer for Fantastic Four. I'm not a big comic book guy like you, but it looked. Yeah, but the trailer for Thunder
what might interest you. It's set in 1962. And you lived in those days, so that nostalgia factor might be cool.
Huh? Thunderbolt actually looked pretty decent.
Yes,
that trailer looked pretty good,
and that's tied into the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, actually, it was a decent trailer.
Did you ever see Black Widow?
Yeah,
it was good. Oh, you did? Okay, good.
I thought we went and saw that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's right.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah. So this is the first appearance in comic book form of Herbie the Robot. That's the only reason I showed that. Fantastic Four issue 209 from May 22nd, 1979, after the cartoon show had been airing starting in the fall of 1978 on Saturday morning. I think it was.
I'm not sure I'll go see Fantastic Four, but I'll see Thunderbolt because they actually look pretty decent. And I'm not a big Marvel guy, but
look at this. This is a Betamax tape, Al Hardee. A Betamax tape.
Oh.
See it? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That was a Betamax tape.
Do you have a Betamax recorder?
No, I don't. Damn.
Well, Betamax was a little bit better quality than VHS, but VHS won out.
Yes, it did in a big way. And then DVD took out VHS. Where'd that go? I don't remember where I had that. Oh, sorry. Oh, damn.
I think you gave me a Fantastic Four comic book.
Oh, I gave you several.
Yeah. I think you gave me one of them's a Fantastic Four, I believe.
Do you remember the issue number?
No, it's in my bedroom in the closet.
It's going to be it may go up in value pretty dramatically depending on if it's the first appearance or not. I can't remember what I gave you.
What?
I can't remember which one I gave. I know I gave you a Wolverine issue one from 1988, not the miniseries. But yeah. All right.
Well, I have posters for Thunderbolt. I'll do some trading.
You want to trade?
I can.
I have several copies of the first. This book is starting to heat up, and I have like maybe 4 or 5 copies. The first appearance of Herbie, who's going to be in the new movie. He's been in both trailers. So, and he was just a cartoon character. Now I need to look up. Let me put you back on the
I want to say, Tracy, she says, I have a new sub. She said, that's me. So thanks, Tracy.
Oh, yeah. My power mod, Keebler, No Sugarcoating Truth, linked your channel, Al Hardee Entertainment, your YouTube channel, in the chat. And that makes it, because she's a mod, she has a wrench, people can click it and subscribe to you easily. So that's good.
Cool. Well,
all right. Let's see.
Well,
I think I covered all
I
the
told you that lady that runs Netter's Network. She asked me to be on her show sometime.
Oh yeah, I was on there. They're nice people.
Yeah, she sent me a thing through X or Twitter asking me if I wanted to participate.
I got one more Wink soda commercial to play, 30 seconds long. Check this out.
Hey, come on! Get sassy. Get Wink, the sassy one from Canada Dry.
Wink, the sassy one. Sassy! From Canada Dry.
No diet taste, because Wink's no diet drink. Wink's got flavor so sassy, it tickles your tongue.
Sassy! Wink, the sassy one. From Canada Dry.
Come on, get sassy again. Get Wink.
Sassy!
That's
I thought that was Laura Parker from Dark Shadows at first. It's not, though. It looked in the very beginning of that commercial, it looked like Laura Parker. You know who she is from Dark
I thought
Shadows?
it was. But I think Wink came out about the time Team was around. Maybe and Team may have won out because Team is no longer with us either. But the Team soda was pretty good too. Remember Team?
Team? No, I don't.
TEM. Team. It's in a green bottle.
I don't remember that. Hey, I need you to pick my next topic. I have a choice I'm going to give you. I've been covering the female actors on Star Trek, the actresses of the original Star Trek, and I'm towards the end of season 1 of the 3 seasons. Should I continue with part 3 of that, or should I conclude pinball machines based on popular movies?
I kind of like pinball machines personally. So
okay, then I will.
I would go with
then
that.
I'll do that. Here's a Terminator 2 pinball.
Judgment Day. Direct hit. Lock sequence initiated. Take the test start. Fire at will. You missed.
I'll save it for
I've
next
owned
week.
one pinball machine in my life, and it was a $6 million man.
I know, dude, and you had all the Space Giants too on 16mm film.
Yeah, I had a $6 million pinball machine, and I traded it to a guy for a 125-gallon aquarium. I wish I'd have kept the pinball machine.
Was it in good condition, the pinball?
Yeah, yeah. I bought it from a friend of mine named Bert. I won't give his last name, but Bert, he ran a vending company here in Atlanta. And so they had jukeboxes, pinball machines and all sorts of stuff. And I bought a couple of jukeboxes from him. But that's where I got my $6 million man. It came from Bert in his company. They had taken it out of service and they weren't going to put it back in. And so I bought it. And it worked fine.
The value of it right now on average, let's see. Estimated values $2,310 to $2,700.
You're kidding. I think I paid $500 for it.
It's gone up. I mean, my Indiana Jones, even a arcade model, even though mine's a prototype, sample table, even the regular one goes for 10 grand, and I've paid $1,600 for it. I think, but I've seen people have offered $30,000 for that pinball machine, Indiana Jones, the Pinball Adventure, because it's a prototype.
Well,
anyway,
I'd sell it for $30,000. It was mine.
Oh, I see one guy selling a $6 million man. He wants $3,700 for it.
Well, that's not so bad, I suppose. Well, the problem is finding people to work on them.
That's true, and they're I don't want to be morbid. They're fading away.
It is just like jukeboxes. I've got 3 jukeboxes here, or 2.
Keep talking.
I had 3, but I got rid of 1. But anyway, it's hard to find people to work on them because mine are the old ones that plays the records, and so the guys that worked on those are just sadly are not doing it no more. They're dying off,
I have on eBay these comics now, and one of them, the Avengers issues 176 to 179. In one of them is an ad for that Fantastic Four cartoon show. So I want to know if it is. If it was on CBS or NBC, and I said NBC. I want to get correct information. Keep going, Al. I'm gonna have to look something up. I'm going to my eBay channel, my eBay account, because I took a photo of the damn ad. I want to open it up. Oh, somebody paid. Somebody won these Avengers, so this is someone else's property. I probably shouldn't even.
Nah, you shouldn't show that now.
Yeah, it's his property now. Let me see what issue it was, though, really quickly. I could show the picture from my. No, I'll open it up. I'm careful. Let me just see what issue number it is. Oh, it's this one. I remember now. Sorry, folks. It is this issue. I'll show you the cover. 178 of Avengers. Let me open it up carefully. I've not been eating, so there's no oils on my hands that I'm aware of. Open it up. And let me do a solo shot real quick and show you the ad. There it is. There's the ad. NBC, I was right the first time. Saturday Morning Fever. NBC. And there's the debut of Herbie the Robot. I bet this ad will be worth something, actually.
I see an ad for Jaws 2.
Yeah, Jaws 2. Jeanette Schwartz directed that. I like Jaws 2. There's the ad for Jaws 2.
Yeah,
the comic
Jaws 3D was not very good.
That's a Marvel comic book adaptation. I have the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Deep. But isn't that kind of a cool ad? I got to be careful. This is this guy's property. He just paid me.
Cool.
But this is a double, of course. I have more than one copy. I only sell books I don't need. So I got to list some more. I got another auction ending tomorrow of some pretty good Incredible Hulk comic books. Let me just pop that right there. That's that gentleman's book. Okay. Ironically, Al Hardee, there's the Silver Surfer, who was a man in the comic books who's going to be female in this version, this universe. The Herald of Galactus, a character who's a giant who eats planets. He comes to Earth to devour it. He was introduced in Fantastic Four issue number 48 way back in 1966.
I'll do a shout out to Danny. He did a video the other day from comics.
Let me put you back on the camera. Danny Cochran did? Yeah. I got to check it out.
He did it 3 or 4 days ago. I like Danny.
He did. Danny's Space Giants. Yes, I need to add more Space Giants. I have a dozen more episodes. There's only 52 episodes. Live action, the original Transformers from 1966, 1967. I am due to the next 4-episode story arc, which is like a 2-hour movie. Without ads, it's more like an hour and 45 minutes or something. But I do 2 episodes per upload. So of the 4 episodes, I try to do 2 a week and then 1 a month. And so I'm slated to conclude sharing the Space Giant English tracks that have not been heard before for my 16mm film. By the way, Al, I had to transfer digitally. And these were outtakes and scenes that were cut from TBS. You probably cut some of these.
Probably did.
Real might have been from stuff that you actually cut when you worked at Turner. So, I'll get back to Space Giants, Tracy. And there's Tracy who subscribed to your channel. You might want to subscribe to her too, Al.
Thank you.
That's good etiquette to subscribe to someone that subscribes to you.
Yes, I will.
And then Keebler had put your channel up. Quick word about Remind Magazine. And look, I pulled just for today. This was a good issue, Al. You would have loved it. Look, about game shows.
Oh.
The only game show host from the classic era, I guess, would be Bob Eubanks and Pat Sajak in terms of the 1970s.
Channel 11 here in Atlanta, every Saturday at 7 o'clock, they run the Pat St. Jack ones. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah, on the weekend. Yeah, that's syndicated. Yeah, I did know that. That was a great issue. So Remind Magazine, if you go to remindmagazine.com, you can give a year of Remind Magazine, that's 10 issues, for just $1 an issue. Actually, it's a little bit more than that because you get 10. I always did the math, but I thought it was 12. They do 2 double-size issues a year, but if you're watching or listening to the show, The Nostalgic Podblast, the odds are you're into nostalgia, and that's what Remind Magazine is all about. It's about stories and times from the 1950s through the 1990s. And there's brain-teasing puzzles. Just go to remindmagazine.com, mention the Nostalgic Podblast when you order. Makes a great gift, graduation gift, birthday gift. Give it to yourself. It's an awesome magazine. This was a good issue, Al. And look at the top. Look at the game show legends. Gene Rayburn. There's Wink Martindale. And it's just a nice cover. I like. And look at classic 1980s Vanna and Pat. It looks like, I would say 1986. If I were to guess, I don't know.
They should offer
Monty Hall.
They should offer a digital version of that.
They do. And they email you sometimes more than once a week, articles, great articles. And you never know, yours truly might be writing for them. Wink, wink. So Remind Magazine, they're a great magazine. And you know what? The regular price is $5.99 plus tax. How about $12 for an entire year, the first year, then it goes to 24. Great magazine. So remindmagazine.com, or you can call toll free. Let me see if Keeb, she put the number up earlier. I like to put that on the screen. If you want to talk to a real human being, call this number, 855-773-6463, and they take all major credit cards. Except for, remember that Diners credit card?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Diners Club. It was Diners Club is what it was. I don't think they take that one. They'll take American Express, MasterCard, Visa, and Discover Card. All right.
Is MasterCard still around?
Yeah. It used to be Master Charge. Remember that?
I remember, yeah. I don't have a MasterCard. I have a Visa card. I don't have a MasterCard.
I only have an American Express card. They canceled because I paid off my credit cards years ago, and I would never use them. Target did the same thing. I got a Target card to get a discount on a big ticket item, and then I never used it again, and they just canceled it, because I paid the thing off, and, if they're not making money on the interest.
I had a Macy's credit card at one time.
Oh, that was high interest. I sold those. I set a record of opening accounts. I went back and back. I worked with Samantha Livingston at Macy's in like the 90s. It was a college job, and in the housewares department, and we would like compete with each other. And 1 month she'd be up, then I'd be up, and you get a bonus if you sold X amount of new. And I didn't realize how bad that interest was. It was at least 22% interest. I'm hey, you open up an account. You can charge all day, and you can go down the street to Perimeter Mall and shop there too. You get 10% off all purchases your first day with this card. It's a great deal. I just really plugged that damn card, and I didn't realize, because I was ignorant. I'm really doing a disservice to some of these people. But they did do a credit check. I'd have to call it in, and someone would run their credit.
Yeah.
Anyway, to get them approved, but whatever. Boy,
well, it's been fun talking about the Winker.
Yeah. Oh, real quick before you go, another rant. Look at this, Al. This is my headlight for my car, right?
Mm-hmm.
I replaced it on January 18th. It went out again, so I had to replace it again. This time, it was the ballast. They had to take apart my light assembly, and I had to have it fixed again. This thing instantly blew because of a bad ballast. So guess how much it cost me to repair that?
Well, those lights are expensive.
Take a guess.
Well, I know the ones for my Beetle for the lamp itself was $18.
Well, this was a lot of labor intrusive because they had to take, like I said,
it's just $18 for the lamp.
Right. Well, when was that? The prices have gone up a lot for parts, especially on German cars.
A few years ago, yeah.
Tracy says the Diners Club still exists. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you, Danny. To take a guess, I'll say higher or lower. How much do you think it costs with labor and everything out the door to fix that headlight?
$40.
Higher.
75.
Higher.
150.
Higher.
200.
Higher.
250.
Higher.
400.
Higher.
5.
Higher.
6.
Higher.
Oh, come on. 7.
Higher.
1,000.
Higher.
1,200.
Higher.
1,500.
Lower.
1,300.
Lower.
12.
Higher.
1,250.
Higher.
1,275.
Higher. You're real close.
1,300.
Lower.
1,280.
Higher.
1,285.
Higher.
1,290.
Higher. Lower. I'm sorry, lower. I didn't mean to do that in your ear. Lower. Lower.
1,280.
Higher.
85.
Higher.
90.
Lower.
88.
Ding, ding, ding. $1,288.87.
For one or two?
Labor. It was the ballast, and I hope I didn't get screwed. Anyway, whatever.
Well, how did that go bad?
It was $250 on January 18th. Air conditioning units. I mean, that's just life, right?
What made it go bad?
Roofs go bad. You have to have new roofing and shingles. They said it's the bad ballast. It was a ballast, and they couldn't figure it out. I had to take it to 2 places because they put a new bulb in, it would blow. They're like, we don't get it. There's no blown fuses, and it was the ballast. So had to replace it. It was on the driver's side. The same light I had it had to replace this before on January 18th. So now I got 2 of them. Ain't that neat? I got 2 headlights. Not very nostalgic, but yeah, this part just see it's loose.
Well, it's funny, you know, I don't drive much at night anymore, so I don't really use my headlights. You know,
really. Tracy's still hanging with us, and so is Danny. And you don't use headlights. I don't much either. But if I'm coming back from set late, and I don't want to get an instant ticket and instant probable cause.
The running lights are on all the time, but the actual headlight, it doesn't come on because I don't drive at night hardly at all.
Oh wow. I want to show you something now. It's just a minute long. Another clip. I know you got to go. Based on Tracy's comment, Tracy says, I have been to Perimeter Mall. Yeah, well, I have a clip that I shot in March of 1988 at Perimeter Mall, where I go into the arcade that was in there called Tilt, and I do a man on the street David Letterman thing where I'm kind of messing with people. So I look like a real jerk. It's a minute 16 seconds long. You'll see. You'll see. This is from March of 1988. At Perimeter Mall.
This is the hangout. This is the scene. This is where all the cool dudes hang out. Let's go fuck with them, huh? Hey, do you got a quarter, man? Do you got a... They look lovely. Look at that ass. Woo-wee! There's old man Wilson. Closing shop. Yeah, find the right key, old man. This is America's youth. Look how they're spending their time playing Marble Madness. Hey, you got a quarter, man? You got a quarter? No? Huh. Hot damn. Smoking! Hey, I need a quarter. Let's see if this guy's got a quarter. Hey, sir. Excuse me, do you have a quarter? Hey, come on, man, be cool. Be cool. Blood. Hey, you. Hey, Wimp, I like your shoes. Hey, that's how you flick me off. Come on, hey.
You were just being a dick.
I was being a definite dick, and I should have warned about the F-bomb. Sorry about that. I forgot. I just thought I was I got my comeuppance. I'm going to release that whole video. We go into a McDonald's in March of '88. There's ashtrays everywhere. Fraggle Rock toys. What?
Did you film that with your camcorder?
Yeah, the one from 1987 JVC. It's sitting right here. Yeah, I think I have a picture of it. Let me show you real quick. I was a jerk. I was like 15, I want to say. Let me see if I still have that picture of that camcorder. I might have deleted it.
Well, I know what they look like.
There's my COVID mask. That's artwork from Tom Williams. Isn't that a spooky? That's a Colt Seavers mask made in China. It looked nothing like Lee Majors. I don't think I had a nice little. I don't have it anymore. Doggone it, I don't.
Oh well.
Oh well. Well, I appreciate you telling those great stories about Wink and how you actually had a professional relationship with Wink Martindale. Very cool. Nice job, man. Thanks for being here. I'm going to continue on a little bit longer. I've got almost 3 hours.
This is Albert Sinatra, and you are listening to the music of your life.
I love that, man. Man. You know who else I really liked is Jackie Gleason. People don't realize Jackie Gleason had a lot of hit records. I mean, like he was a record breaker.
But you know, he couldn't read a word of music.
No, he would hum it. He could create music and hum it, and then the orchestra would take over.
One of our most popular shows we did was on the Honeymooners.
Yes, it was. That was that was the Nostalgic Podblast 3, and we ran that on WTZA 50,000 watt AM daytime.
That's one of the most popular shows we ever did.
That was a good one. That was a really good episode. I love the Honeymooners. I love the Lost episodes. These right here.
Well, I have all the Honeymooners on DVD. I have the set.
This is the best set, though, right here. This is the 60th.
That's the one. I have that one.
Oh, you have that one? Yeah. This is the most comprehensive.
That's the one I have.
They finally could call it the Lost Episodes. MPI Home Video owns the rights to the Lost Episodes, and under contract with Showtime, They were called the Lost Episodes exclusively when Showtime Pay Cable
Right.
started airing them in 1984. Then in 1985, MPI got the rights, but they had to call it the Hidden Episodes. So now I guess it didn't matter anymore because they're calling them Lost Episodes, and this is still MPI, but in a different format from VHS, obviously DVD.
You
But
never
they're
opened
referring-
it. You've never
I
opened it.
did from the side.
Oh,
I like to keep it
okay.
plastic. Yeah, look, and it has the Pert Kelton, Alice Cramden years
Mm-hmm.
from the Dumont Network. But yeah, that was this is just an awesome set. And it's also got a storyline from 1957 live. This was after the Dumont Network Classic 39 episodes had already aired. They went back to doing live skits on the Jackie Gleason show. And there was an ongoing storyline where they won a contest, a European trip, and they went to Europe on a cruise. And they had money. They gave them money. So it was like they're out of the apartment. They weren't broke. And they actually had loot. It was just different. It was really cool. It was a live sketch. It's on here from 1957.
That's a great set. I mean, I have it too.
Yeah. I love it. It's been fun conversing with you, man. I hope you have a real good night. I need to find an Al Hardee Garbage Pail Kid. Look at these. Diaper Dan.
Yeah.
You know, the little gross out cards. I don't think he ever made one with my name, Chance, because that was before
What are you doing for Easter Sunday?
Going to visit mom and dad, my sister, my niece, my nephew, about 5.5 miles from my home. What about you? You going to church?
Are you going to mass?
I should. I really should. I need to cleanse my soul. Even though I was baptized in 2018, I've sinned so much since then.
It's just people, I'm Catholic, and Chance became Catholic in when?
Easter 2018.
Because I went to Chance's confirmation at the church in Marietta. Well, what was the church?
Tracy's got the DVD set too. Tracy and Chad.
Oh, cool.
The Jackie
Anyway.
Gleason. Go ahead.
But I don't think Chance has been to mass since.
No, I went to your mass out there in Gwinnett County.
That's
Al
right.
lives 27 miles
Yeah.
from me, and
Yeah.
we went several times during and after the pandemic, and we went to Fish Fries there.
Yeah,
I
yes,
like Fish Fries. St.
There's-
Joseph's of Marietta was my parish when I went every week.
during Lent, you went to and met Father Sonny over there. I remember that.
And you know what? I'm so bad. It was Friday, Good Friday, and I go to Arby's and eat a roast beef sandwich. You're not supposed to eat meat, right?
Well,
Especially on Good
We're
Friday.
not supposed to, but some people do.
Yeah,
I don't hold it against them.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I hope
Oh,
you have a
yeah.
nice Easter. I'm just gonna, do the honey baked ham thing and spinach, and just I'll post some pictures on my Instagram. The Nostalgic Podblast. Al, I'll let you go, man. I hope you have a good night, and we'll see you next time. I'm gonna watch that Tic-Tac Dough, the new version on Game Show Network. It looks pretty good.
I might check out. I have that channel, so I'll check it out.
And Wink Martindale lovers, remember, tomorrow on Game Show Network GSN, there's going to be a marathon of 8 classic Tic-Tac-Dough episodes hosted by Wink Martindale from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Not on Buzzer, on the Game Show Network, GSN.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. Tracy said Proverbs 22:1. More people should know that one. More people should know that one. I don't. Do you? I'll look it up.
We won't get into religion, but anyway, yeah.
Okay. Hey, I need to turn you on to Tug, this guy, the Unapologetic Geek.
Yeah.
You'd be a good guest on there talking movies. He talks movies primarily. No religion, no politics.
I've actually seen him. So tell him to next time if you do a show with him, let me know and I may join you.
Yeah, tonight is the Brainbenders Banter. I'll probably be on there, pop in there. And he's on there. So I will mention you to him and try to hook you guys up. So, all right, now, I'm going to keep rolling just for a little bit longer. Keebler, bear with me. I will talk with you later, Al. Thanks for being on the Podblast again.
Okay.
Bye. Al Hardee, everybody. Nice guy. And he's really actually very intelligent, especially when it comes to gizmos and things. It's amazing what he knows and what he has in his little museum at his house. You heard him talk about his jukeboxes. He sold one. He has 2, one upstairs, one downstairs, and loaded with 45 records. And he knows so much about music. He is an encyclopedia when it comes to music and movies. And holy moly, My Flock is here. Hey, My Flock. Oh, you are so sweet. You didn't have to do that. I I was talking earlier about memberships. I don't have one on the Podblast. I do have one on Chance Acting Demo, my other channel. Girl, what am I going to do with you? I played. You may not have been here. Southern California Sarah, I played my second GSN live win. I've never put that on the internet before. It's earlier in the stream if you want to check it out. And Fred Rogan refers to me as the Google cheater. So there's continuity with the other one. I played the original one too, where I won the refrigerator and the Wheel of Fortune pin. I'm not going to tell you what I won. If you weren't here, you might want to catch it on the replay. Keeps transcribed what Tracy was saying. Proverbs 22:1. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, love and favor rather than silver or gold. That is good. That's why I like you, Tracy. You know, you have immense heart and you dig deep into the soul of what you like. And I like that about you. Keebler said the Proverbs, not me. Oh, I'm sorry, Tracy. Well, Keebs, and everything I said to Tracy, I transferred to you. Man, thank you for being a member, Sarah. Jeez, I owe you. I owe you. I appreciate that. I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm telling you, I feel guilty charging, and I need to put more content there because I feel like I'm shortchanging you as a member. I haven't put anything new for members only on there in a couple months at least, so I need to do that. Damn, geez, I appreciate that. My whole thing with the memberships, yes, family, is that, you know, someone could get a Netflix or like a Hulu or a Disney Plus, you know what I mean, for about the same money and get access to real entertainment. You know what I mean? I think the hubris, I don't want to be so into myself that I think I'm worth charging someone a membership for. No, I'll just make, you know, what pays the bills is the ad revenue as long as the views are there. So, you know, I'm just going to go that route. And I figure, you know, and I get some people saying, there's too many ads in your stuff. Fair enough. But I also, anytime someone leaves that remark, I'll say, did you know if you watch YouTube free version via a television through Pluto or through Roku, rather, a Roku device, for instance, generally the ads are not that bad. There might be an ad in the beginning, but ads don't pop up like they do on a phone or on a MacBook or laptop or desktop. And then also you could get the paid YouTube. It's ad free. I figure it's worth it's the cost of admission. I'm sorry you got to skip ads, people that watch it the old fashioned way. I know it's annoying. I don't like it as a viewer, but I mean, I'm sharing stuff from my film collection, my video collection, original stuff nobody's got, stuff I filmed. Like that camcorder video, Perimeter Mall, March 1988 is gold. I'm doing it in segments. When you see the McDonald's segment, and I'm going to release the arcade segment I played tonight individually and see if people like it. That is rare stuff. That's real. And yeah, I look bad. And wait till you see what I look like. I was in a punk phase. My friend Greg, who you saw playing Marvel Madness with the wild hair, he turns the camera around on me. I dyed my hair black, and I'm just a little, but you see my girlfriend Barbara, who was beautiful in one shot, and I have a feeling she's no longer on this earth. She called me some years ago. She always thought I looked like Val Kilmer, and when she saw The Saint back in '97, I looked different. You know, everyone's face changes. I got a fat ass face. Sorry, family show, but I got a fat face. Anytime I have sugar, it always goes right to my face. I got a fat face, but I didn't always have a fat face. But I'm going to release that whole video, and so you know, I think I'll release the segments to members only for Sarah and other members, so you can get the first crack at it, because that is total nostalgia, and it's comedy, but it's adult comedy. Man, and I get kicked out. I get my comeuppance. The security guard, this hayseed, he goes, he thought the camera was film. He goes, I tell you what we're going to do. Take the film out of that camera and expose it. He didn't know it was videotape. So I go, oh, okay, sir. I take it out and I held up the light. I'll even hold up the light for you. And he got kind of physical with my friend Greg. You hear Greg say, don't touch me, man. And my friend Greg didn't do anything. I was the offender. I was the one offending people. And at one point, this guy flips me a bird. He's bald. And I said, you're looking at an HRS client. They're going to shave his rear end and put it on his head. You know, I'm just and lucky I didn't get punched in the face that day. But it's a pretty entertaining video. I can't wait to share it with you. But I'm going to look like a real jerk. You know, I'm a nice guy. I got a big heart. I do. I sound like I'm giving a sermon for Holy Weekend. Oh, I hear you, Tracy. I know you're nice. I didn't say you weren't. But Fremantle Media, yeah, they're out of London, but we already cleared that up. Let's see. Let me get back real quick to a little bit. Let's conclude with the Wink Martindale life story real quick. We left off with Tic-Tac Dough. I told you about the origin of that show, and it dates back to the 50s. Let's see here. Did you know this? This is a cool fact. In 1988, Wink Martindale and Gildan Productions secured the licensing rights from Parker Brothers to develop game shows based on Parker Brothers properties such as Boggle, the game. Okay, after hosting two short-lived Merrill Header-produced game shows, a revival of High Rollers, and the Canadian game show The Last Word, Wink Martindale went back into producing and launched The Great Getaway Game on the Travel Channel in 1990, because he'd left Tic-Tac Dough in 1985. 2 years after that program went off the air, Wink Martindale teamed up with Bill Hillier and the Family Channel to produce a series of interactive game shows that put an emphasis on home viewers being able to play along from home and win prizes like GSN Live, like I did as a call-in contestant. And they had GSN Radio too. I haven't mentioned this yet. It was from 2008. Bob Goen and his wife, Mary Ann, were the hosts, and they were great. Bob Goen actually was a Wheel of Fortune host on NBC Daytime for a while when Pat Sajak was doing a late night talk show in 1989 to compete with Late Night with David Letterman. And the Pat Sajak show did not succeed, just like the Joan Rivers show did not succeed trying to take on Johnny Carson in the Tonight Show. But Bob Goen in 89 was right there with Vanna, and he was just really, really great. He was from Entertainment Tonight, Bob Goen. You'd know him from that. But I loved GSN Radio, and you'd win cash. I'd call in all the time. I won a lot of money playing GSN Radio trivia games. And anyway, and he and Mary Ann were awesome. It didn't last long, but it lasted a good, I want to say 9 months to a year. And it was just internet radio. It wasn't actual terrestrial radio, but you would just play on your computer, and the odds were greater getting on GSN Radio than on the TV version, because it was a computer that would pick. They would say, call now, and you had to be right on it, right? I was lucky to get on GSN Live more than a couple times. And there's one clip I haven't shared yet with Kelly Packard. She was an actress from Baywatch, and she was actually a contestant on Card Sharks, hosted by Bob Eubanks on Teen Week or Kids Week. And but on my birthday, 2008, she goes, "Happy birthday, Chance!" Big whoop, but I have it on. I saved it. It was kind of cute. Let's see here. How about that picture that they showed of me from 2007 that I sent them? It was an older picture where it featured some winners on GSN Live. But one of these days, I'm going to be on Wheel of Fortune. I want to be a contestant on that so bad, because ever since I started playing Scrabble once a week, or on average with my mom when I visit mom and dad, I can see the puzzles. I can solve the puzzles. And that's not what they want, right? They don't want someone that's going to clean the clock, right? And take money from their holiday party, right? But I would love to be on Wheel of Fortune with another Georgian, way more successful than I, hosting Ryan Seacrest. Let's see here. Martindale. Okay. Talked about the Family Channel. Let me quickly continue on and wrap up talking about the late, great Wink Martindale. So Wink Martindale teamed up with Bill Hillier and the Family Channel to produce interactive games with the audience. 4 shows were commissioned, and Wink Martindale served as host for all 4 of them. The first premiered on June 7th, 1993. It was called Trivial Pursuit, based on the board game, an adaptation of that very popular board game. On March 7th, 1994, the list-based Shuffle and Boggle, those are 2 different game shows, and another board game adaptation premiered, and were very different from Trivial Pursuit, which was presented in a more traditional game show style. These 2 programs, along with Jumble, a show that replaced Shuffle on June 13th, 1994, after its initial 14-week run ended, were played more like the interactive games for the home viewers that were the focus of the block of programming. Except for Trivial Pursuit, none of the interactive games were much of a success. Boggle ended on November 18th, 1994, where Jumble came to an end on December 30th, 1994. Trivial Pursuit ended on the same day as Jumble, but continued to air in reruns for some time afterward, finally being removed from the Family Channel schedule in July of 1995. Wow. So 1995, that's already 40 years ago. Are you kidding me? 95 to 05, 05 to 15. Oh, 30 years ago. I knew that. I knew that because it was 30 years ago when I met Chris Reeve last year. I am stupid sometimes. Stupid. But yeah, so that was 30 years ago, but still. In June 1996, Wink Martindale became the host of Lifetime's highest rated quiz show. We already talked about it and showed you a clip of it, Debt, which debt-ridden contestants compete to try to eliminate their debts and what they owe. Despite its popularity on cable, Debt was canceled in 1998 for the reason more males were watching the show than females, and the network wanted to target females on Lifetime. Wink Martindale did not host another game show for over a decade after Debt folded in 1998. Let's see here. On June 2nd, 2006, Wink Martindale received a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Let's put that picture up really quickly. And I'll get to the chat in just a sec. I showed it earlier, but I just love this picture. There it is. So let's talk about that. I wanted to cover that before I sign off tonight. June 2nd, 2006. There's Wink receiving his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2007, Wink Martindale became a member of the nominating committee of the Hit Parade Hall of Fame. On October 13th, 2007, Wink Martindale was one of the first inductees into the American TV Game Show Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wink Martindale was one of the hosts featured in the 2002 NBC special Most Outrageous Game Show Moments, alongside Bob Eubanks, Jim Lang from The Dating Game, Ben Stein, and Peter Marshall from the Hollywood Squares, and Al Hardee's buddy, Peter Marshall, but was not featured in any of the subsequent episodes ordered by the network. NBC. Wink Martindale appeared. It's the Pepsi, folks. Wink Martindale appeared in various TV commercials, including a stint as a pitchman for the travel website Orbitz. I remember that. Orbitz, Orbitz. Until 2007, Wink had a daily 3-hour show on the syndicated Music of Your Life format alongside Al Hardee, which is heard on around 200 radio stations. So Al Hardee is heard on 200 radio stations across the country doing voice tracking, introducing songs, and giving facts about the songs. That's pretty cool. And he's paid to do it. On June 2nd, 2009, Wink Martindale signed with the syndicated Hit Parade radio format. The format began operation on February 7th, 2010, with Wink Martindale as afternoon drive time personality. The syndicator stopped operating on June 6th, 2010. In 2008, Wink Martindale appeared on GSN Live, as I did. I showed you 2 clips of me on that program, and I have that on tape. I need to dig for that, and forgive me, it would have taken me weeks to find it. It's here somewhere. But I have that. I have it on VHS. But anyway, I need to convert that to DVD. In 2008, Wink Martindale appeared on GSN Live on the Game Show Network, an interactive program during the afternoon block of classic game show reruns. Several times during 2008, Wink Martindale filled in for Fred Rogan, the host of GSN Live, along with Heidi Bohe from the show Hotel. I haven't mentioned that yet. And Fred Rogan was with NBC Sports. And he had a blooper show, a sports blooper show, Rogan's Heroes, in 1990-91. Fred Rogan's the one who called me the Google cheater. But anyway, Wink Martindale was Fred Rogan's fill-in host on GSN Live while Rogan was on vacation. Wink Martindale's last program was the GSN Game Show Network original series titled Instant Recall, which premiered on March 4th, 2010. Instant Recall was the first show Martindale hosted following Debt which aired on Lifetime from 96 to 1998, as we talked about. In 2012, Wink Martindale returned to radio as the host of the 100 Greatest Christmas Hits of All Time. The nationally syndicated show was produced by Envision Radio Networks. In 2013, Wink Martindale made a guest appearance on The Eric Andre Show. In an appearance typical for the show, he did the interview dressed in a motion capture suit, at one point being rather poorly videotaped dancing. He sang a song teaching kids their Jamaican ABCs and promoted a drinkable mouthwash called SCO-App instead of Scope, SCO-App, like an application. In 2014, Wink Martindale began a YouTube channel where I got a couple of these clips today. And it featured episodes of game shows, game show pilots, rare clips from various game shows, and other game show related content. That's the Wink Martindale YouTube channel. He continued to maintain the channel named Wink's Vault, with episode B-128 of the Wink Martindale hosted game show Debt being published less than 2 hours before his death. Jeez. In fact, I remember this. I actually did a post in the Nostalgic Podblast post, formerly community post on YouTube, and on the Nostalgic Podblast Facebook group about the new Tic-Tac Dough game show on Game Show Network that premiered this week. First time in 35 years, Tic-Tac Dough's been on the air. And I said it would be nice if Wink Martindale made a cameo appearance. And then just a few hours later, the news broke that he expired. Stinks. I would have loved to have seen Wink return to Tic-Tac Dough in some capacity, even for just one episode, but it wasn't meant to be. Wink Martindale made a special guest appearance on the December 2nd, 2014 episode of the Game Show Network show, The Chase, hosted by Brooke Burns. That's the show I couldn't remember. Brooke Burns was with a rather large British man, and Brooke Burns is going to be the new host of Tic-Tac Dough. And she is the new host of Tic-Tac Dough. And I think she'll do a fine job. I'm really enjoying Elizabeth Banks as the host of Press Your Luck. So I am definitely not a male chauvinist pig when it comes to game show hosting. Betty White was the first female game show host back in 1983. Okay. In October 2016, Wink Martindale appeared on the daytime soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful, playing a minister. And that's on CBS. On October 21st, 2017, Wink Martindale appeared in a Kentucky Fried Chicken advertising campaign featuring Rob Lowe as astronaut Colonel Sanders, making a JFK speech spoof and giving an homage. The ad is about launching a Zinger chicken sandwich into space. Hey, I like Zingers, man. Dolly Madison Zingers, now hostess Zingers. Those were good. The yellow ones, I'd peel the little yellow frosting off of that thing, and underneath it'd be like a Twinkie. Zinger, they should have come up with a better name. I like the Chicken Little chicken sandwich at KFC. At least I did back when food was real in the 80s. But the little square Chicken Little sandwich with mayo, I love that little thing. It's like a Crystal Burger or a White Castle burger, but with chicken and thicker. On April 4th, 2018, Wink Martindale was the, quote, surprise, unquote, co-host via phone for the Sirius XM National Hockey League Network Radio's 3 Questions segment, where a celebrity co-host creates the questions and then quizzes the show's broadcast crew. So there's a little hockey tie-in. On January 28th, 2021, Wink Martindale claimed on his Facebook page that he had one of the pilots for the ABC version of Deal or No Deal and would upload it when his YouTube channel hit 18,000 subscribers. When he hit his goal on July 19th, 2021, the pilot was uploaded to his channel. On June 6th, 2021, Wink Martindale began hosting the nationally syndicated and internationally syndicated show, The History of Rock and Roll, a 2-hour weekend look back at music from the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s. The production is created by a team composed of Wink Martindale, who was the producer, engineer. The production is created by a team composed of Wink Martindale and producer/engineer Peter J. Gould of the Intervale Group and writer-producer Gary Throx, who wrote and produced the 1978 52-hour marathon version of The History of Rock and Roll for Drake Chanel. The new richly produced series combines songs, fun facts about the music and the artists, and the artist interview sound bites. That is cool. So let's put a picture of Wink and his lovely bride, Sandy, back up and talk about her briefly. They would attend the Oscars viewing events in the Beverly Hills Hilton in Beverly Hills. On February 5th, in February 2015, Wink Martindale married Madeline Leach. I'm sorry. Let me back up. The pictures from February 2015 that you're seeing now. I'm going to slap myself for being a goof. Okay. Personal life of Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale married Madeline Leach, Leech, like Robin Leach. These are the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Wink Martindale married Madeline Leach in 1954, and they had 4 children. The couple divorced in 1972. He later married his second wife, Sandy, on August 2nd, 1975. He had a few dogs named after the various game shows he'd hosted. Really? Come here, Tic-Tac Dough. Roll over, Tic-Tac Dough. Roll over, Gambit. Kneel. Beg. All right. The couple divorced, in 72, the original, and then he married Sandy on August 2nd, 1975. He had a few dogs named after the various game shows he hosted. Come here, Det. Hey, Det. Roll over, Det. Martindale identified as a born-again Christian and was once a guest on the TBN flagship program, Praise the Lord. He endorsed several conservative positions politically. His wife, Sandy, previously dated Elvis Presley, as Al Hardee mentioned, and you heard in Wink's own words. Both he and Sandy were friends with Elvis Presley. They appeared on the Sirius Elvis radio format and shared stories about the king, Elvis Presley. Sadly, Wink Martindale expired from lymphoma at a hospital in Rancho Mirage, California on April 15th, 2025 at the age of 91. Rest in peace, Wink Martindale. You will be remembered for everything that you spoke about, and you're a great MC, great voice, talent, and we miss you, man. But I'll be tuning in tomorrow to GSN to watch. And remember, you're hosting MC duties on Tic-Tac Dough. All right, well, I guess I'm going to check the chat, but it's time for the nostalgic treat of the week. I love these. Do you remember sour cream and onion Doritos from the 80s? I loved them. They brought them back in 2011 and 2012 in limited release. I bought every bag I could find. I bought them, and I loved them. I wish they'd bring them back. Sour cream and onion Doritos were introduced in 1978, but they were discontinued in the early 1980s, so that's a real throwback if you can find them. Cool Ranch is similar, the Cool Ranch Doritos, but they're not quite the same as the sour cream and onion Doritos, and they came in a green bag. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I did have a game. Oh, I'm going to save this for next week. I did have a game. I know Joe's probably giving up. Mr. Joe Gutfeld, New York State. He's always like, you doing trivia? He quit asking. Oh, man. I'm going to bring back taglines next week, and we'll either do some beer taglines or soft drink taglines. Taglines is a game I came up with where I mention an advertising tagline, and you come up with the product or what it is. It could be a movie tagline. It could be a fast food tagline. Like, I'll give you an example. Think outside the bun. What's that a tagline for? That's easy. Taco Bell. Of course, Taco Bell's had many taglines like run for the border. I don't think that one go over too well these days. I have another one. Toasty. Quiznos. I loved Quiznos. They went out of business around here. The toasted sub. I liked Quiznos. That was a good sandwich shop. Okay, I'll save the rest of these for next time. But I appreciate everybody being here. Oh, Al Hardee's still lurking about. I can see him in his control room. He's waving at me. Nice, everybody. it's been a good show. And we remember Wink. I showed these photos earlier. Here they are in rapid fire. Anyone who tuned in late. Wink was a great guy, and we miss him. And that's pretty cool. On Wikipedia is a whole bit about music for your life that Al Hardee works for. So let me just say good night to the chat. See you later, dude. See you, Chance, later, dude, said Tracy. Ricky's Radio checked in. He's live. That's his YouTube channel. I call him Ricky. Rick's Radio. And he does an afternoon sesh after work with his friends. It's a lot of fun. I heard she was a leech. Yeah, Wink's first wife, kind of appropriate, right? if it goes south. Yeah. High maintenance, right? Oh, man, that's funny, dude. I didn't see that. I appreciate y'all. All right, let me just see if you have any other clips I wanted to play. And I want to mention I did publish on my channel the Nostalgic Podblast. If you're listening through an audio platform like Fistful of Radio out of Atlanta, I'm on every Saturday and Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and Monday night and Wednesday night around 6. It's not live though. It's a best of. But I want to direct you to the YouTube channel so you can see the collectibles and see the clips. You just Google search this show, The Nostalgic Podblast, not nostalgia, nostalgic, like ain't it nostalgic with a C. The Nostalgic Podblast, Google search that or use a search engine of your preference and you'll see the YouTube channel right at the top. Then click that and make sure to always click the live tab because a lot of times there's things I did live that don't show up as a video. You have a video column, a live column, and then a posts column and other columns too, like podcasts, which is audio only. But if you want to see what's going on, just hit up the YouTube. I would direct you to Facebook Live, but Facebook now is implemented this summer of 2025. They're going to delete Facebook Live streams after 30 days, which totally blows. So best place to see the show is definitely on YouTube. And I posted a panel I recorded of Marta Kristen from Lost in Space, 47 minutes, and she was wonderful in this panel. I haven't shared that until yesterday or overnight. And also a panel of a stunt woman, Sandra Gempel. And here's her book, Stunt Lady. She's so sweet and funny. She was Will Robinson's stunt double and stand-in. She was the monster in Star Trek, the Man Trap, the Salt Vampire, and a whole lot more. She worked with Barbara Eden. There she is with Barbara Eden. She was a fembot, and she was just a joy. So I have her 47-minute panel too. And both of those were from back on April 5th, 2025 at Stellar Quest, the first annual Stellar Fest convention at the Sonesta Hotel in Duluth, Georgia. It was a great event, very successful event. A husband and wife team founded it. The Secongers, Chris and Angela, and they're both awesome people. And everyone who attended was nice too. There wasn't a problem I was aware of or anything that went wrong. Another thing I want to talk about that I published on the channel, if you're into comic books, I continued a little feature I call Every Issue Ever Made. And I showed the first 100 issues of Iron Man from my collection. And I take pictures of these books. And that's out there in the live tab. Anyone who wants to look at that. I didn't do an audio conversion because it's so visual. And I just took pictures of Iron Man comic books from my collection. For the comic book people out there. And sorry to my wonderful game show fellow fans for not doing a tribute to a lost game show legend until now, unfortunately, with Wink Martindale. I am going to finally do one about Bob Barker. I think it's been enough time since I did my tribute to Bob Barker before he passed away. But it's been a couple years. So I think I will do one on the Bob Barker, legendary Bob Barker. He's my favorite game show host of all time. And then Gene Rayburn, and then Wink and Richard Dawson. Those are my guys. I love watching them go. So guess we'll say goodnight. I just can't tear myself away once I have a tall boy Pepsi. Oh, sorry, Al. Hang on. I didn't mean to do that. He's just sitting there. Thank gosh his pants were on. I'm joking, buddy. I know they would be. Don't flip me a bird. Oh, man, that could have been funny. All right, so I'm going to sign off. Let's see if I have something to sign off with. I do. Good night, everybody. Don't let the dragon get you. We'll see you next time on the Nostalgic Podblast. Thanks to the Power Mods. Thanks to Keebs for being here. And to Sarah. My flock is everywhere. And thanks to Tracy. Thanks to Danny Staten. Thanks to Kay Moonen, who's catching the replay. Thanks to Al Hardee for joining me for most of the show. Catch you next time here on the Nostalgic Podblast. Good night.